If you're looking to watch the show, you can find us on YouTube at the Hacksaw Workshop. If you're looking to find some of Doc's works, you can find him at TikTok or Twitch at Mr_M's. Now, let's get into it.
Let's do this.
Buffalo 66, written and directed by Vincent Gallo, starring Vincent Gallo, Christina Ricci, with Ben Gazzara, Anjelica Huston, Rosanna Arquette, Jan Michael Vincent, for the Rick and Morty people who don't know, Mickey Rourke, and Kevin Corrigan, with Kevin Pollack as a radio announcer, or not a sports announcer, not a radio announcer.
Yep.
But Kevin Pollack definitely has a... Kevin Pollack. On fire this week. Here we go. He is a man who has a solid body of work, but I never thought he actually reached the acclaim that he deserved.
Nah, I think the highest height I ever saw him hit was in Usual Suspects. His role in Usual Suspects. I think that was like the highest height he reached, and boy, did he make a meal out of it for sure. But yeah, I didn't see him do much to match it after that. That's for sure.
No, it seems like every role that he would have gone in to kill, the other Kevin got all those roles.
The other Kevin,
Spacey.
Oh right. Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
I think Kevin Pollack could have crushed basically every role that Kevin Spacey did.
Yeah, you know what? I could see it. I don't think you're wrong there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The cold open on a missing boy and his dog, and it really, really feels like it's like back of a milk carton type of opening.
Yeah.
I had no idea what it was.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it literally is just kind of an intro card. It looks like a missing kid poster. It says his name, it says his birthday, and it's like says pictured here with his dog. So it looks like a missing kid poster or like an in memoriam, like, you know, this movie's dedicated to this dead child. But no, it's actually our main character. We're looking at our main character here. That's who he is. And what unfolds, and we'll get into it later, but what unfolds is like you find out later on is it just gets more tragic for what looks like is a missing kid or a dead kid picture. No, he grew up to be an adult. And in a way, it's kind of more sad.
Oh, holy crap. Yeah, this character was like the embodiment of pain. Being released from prison, and the full story of prison essentially set up through overlaying insert shots, which I never really thought about using insert shots in that way, but that was a very, very nice touch.
No, yeah, it's kind of like a combination, like, he's having a flashback thinking about life in prison. We're getting an introduction to it, but yeah, they're kind of like all of these overlaying images that almost look like, you know, stock photos in a way. Some of like if you know, he's got a very distinctive look, so you can tell it's him in all those pictures and all these videos. But there is a graininess to them. They feel like stock images, and it kind of tells the not so much a story, but like what's in his head of him thinking about and feeling prison life and how it just was in specifically, like, you don't see anything bad happen to him, but you see him fucking suffering. He's upset. He's crying in almost all of these images that we're seeing. So, you know,
yeah.
But so we're basically seeing this guy get out of prison. He's sitting at the bus stop in front of the prison gates that he's been released from. And you're just kind of watching him think about how much it fucking sucked to be in there. He's not happy to be out. He's just still living in the shit that he was in for the last 5 years.
As we find out, like, he's basically terrified to be out because that the moment he gets released from prison basically puts a time clock on his lifespan. And that's what he knows. Or that's what he's hoping for, really. So
this is his plan for sure, yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. Like, him trying to go back to the prison to use the bathroom. I thought that was just, I could not, like, that was a good fun, you know, that's that dark comedy you're talking about there.
Right, yeah. And then he
And
gets
it
on
goes
gets on the
on for
last
a
bus into
long
town.
time. Like he
A
says that
long
he's
time.
had
Like
to pee for hours.
the first like 15 minutes of this movie is just this poor bastard looking for a bathroom.
Uh-huh.
after getting out of prison. Takes the bus from the prison into town, gets into town, the bus station's bathroom is out of order. They tell him to go to the restaurant next door. The restaurant next door is closed. And it just goes on and on. This motherfucker, like, and there's even scenes of him walking down the street, just like bowling over in pain, just barely not pissing himself. Like, that's the first 15 minutes of this movie. And yeah, it's kind of funny. It's not shot in a comedic way.
It's a little funny, but once you kind of realize, like any normal dude, you go 15 minutes, somebody ain't letting you pee, you're finding an alley right away. A dude who's just been released from prison is walking on eggshells to the point that he does not want to be in that position at all. I get that.
Which
I really felt that.
Almost does. There's even a part where he kind of tries to go around into an alley to pee, but then another person walks around the same corner and he's like, ah, shit, and like runs off instead. So, yeah.
Then, like, trying to find that bathroom, he finds the dance class with Christina Ricci, and that bathroom scene is crazy. I don't know if that was supposed to be funny. It didn't get a laugh out of me.
No, it was just really upsetting.
Yeah, it may have. Which, okay, I gotta give Vincent Gallo a decent amount of credit here. You gotta have some sizable balls to have someone in a movie reference your own junk and talk about it's just so big in the same movie that about an hour later you're gonna be standing there in tighty whities where the whole audience gets to go, and especially watching this the same week that French dude in the Olympics.
Apparently this was not approached my news feed, so I guess
A French pole vaulter got he cleared the pole vault. He cleared it, successful, and then his ginormous dong hit the bar and knocked it on the way down.
Wow. Oh, wow. I don't know whether or not to feel sorry for him. I gotta say,
that's kind of what like late night hosts have been talking about. It's like, even though he didn't win the Olympics, he won the Olympics. Which, yeah. See, so that's what I'm kind of saying. A little bit funny to have a character identified somebody as being like just absolutely massive, and then later on in the movie be in your own tighty whities where everybody, the audience, is just like, I thought that was a weird thing to include. I thought that was like an ego stroke for Vincent Gallo, and it took me out of the movie a little bit.
Well, and
because there was no part of that scene I liked.
Right, yeah. That whole scene was and I think that's kind of the interesting thing too, because it's like there are nobody in this movie is sane. Everybody in this movie is fucking nuts, including that dude in the bathroom. I mean, I don't care if Vincent Gallo really does have a fucking elephant trunk down there. People don't go into the bathroom and hang out and comment on people's dongs. That's just not a thing that happens. Okay,
never happened to me. Never heard of that happening to anybody I know. That's not a thing that happens.
So clearly, that dude in the bathroom had something else going on, and Billy, Vincent Gallo's character, Billy Brown, does not handle it well at all. It basically just goes full on homophobia on the dude, and now he can't pee. And because he's too self-conscious about it. He's been hunting for this bathroom for fuck knows how long, and now that he's found a bathroom, he got weirded out by the dude in the bathroom, and now he can't pee, and now he's really mad.
It's very unrelatable. If I have to pee, I'm peeing. There's no force of nature that is going to stop that. When I'm done, I will move on with life. Like, that is no.
I have heard of people who have some sort of like nervous condition where they can't do it if people are watching or something like that. I have heard tell of these things. I personally have never met anyone with that condition, but I have heard it is a thing out there. So,
Sure. I mean, everything is a thing. Like, there's always somebody out there that has one of these things going on. Of course. It's just, huh? Really?
right.
I struggle with it. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Borrowing a quarter from Ricci right after just hauling off on her and treating her like crap and everything. And then she goes into the gives him a quarter first, goes into the bathroom and then eavesdrops on his conversation with his mom and just, I don't know, just feels sorry for him.
Is she eavesdropping? Because she's clearly in the bathroom stall. He's just yelling so loud that she can't help but hear from there because he's yelling at his mom on the phone.
I don't know. The fact that she was actually reacting to what he was saying is why I'm calling it eavesdropping, because I can hear what other people are talking about, but I don't, like, if I'm not listening to it, I'm not reacting to it. The fact that she was reacting to it is kind of why I'm saying it was eavesdropping.
Okay, all right.
And I'm pretty sure this character is insane.
Right, yeah, no, everyone in this movie is insane. There is one single line in this movie that is not completely crazy, and we'll get to it. We'll get to it later.
All right.
But yeah, but that's the thing, is like now he's tried to pee, he can't, so then he goes to the payphone in the hallway to call his mom, and that's where we get the first introduction to the blatant lies that he's been telling his family. That he hasn't been in jail this whole time. He's been working for the government. And now he's in town with his wife, and he wants to come visit. No, we're staying in a really nice hotel, Ma, but don't come here. I'm going to come there because I want to see the old neighborhood. No, my wife isn't coming because she's sick. She always gets sick whenever we fly on the airplane. Just shovel on shovel of bullshit.
Yep.
And then his mom berates him, and he gets mad and says, "All right, fine, I'll bring my sick wife to the goddamn house." And that's basically what leads to him deciding to randomly kidnap Christina Ricci as soon as she comes out of the bathroom.
Which, I'm sorry, kidnapping a woman and then not having the ability to drive a stick, and then chastising her for how dirty her windows are. Okay, there was some funny stuff in this.
I love it. Is this a shifter car? I can't drive shifter cars. You know why? Because I drive luxury cars. I drive cars that shift themselves. Jesus Christ, how can you not lose your shit over a line? Not just that line, but the fact that he kept repeating it. He kept going, I drive cars that shift themselves. You understand? They shift themselves. He just keeps saying it like what he's saying makes any fucking sense. And she's just not getting it.
Oh my God. This was a line I don't know if I've ever heard a line like this, but I really like this one. I'll take a bite out of your cheek and shit you out.
What a fucking thing to say to someone. I know, right?
Damn. But she does stay in the car and he finally gets to pee. Now here's a moment that I think the film could have improved upon. Let that pee go just a little bit longer. Apparently he's been holding it for hours and it's only a 5-second pee. That is not real. And this is an independent film. Independent films, you can have 2 minutes of a dude standing next to a tree peeing and nobody's gonna fucking complain.
Right, yeah. Yep.
Like,
but also the movie was the movie was an hour 50. Maybe when they were sitting there going like, shit, we're like 10 minutes over, we need to cut something. I guess we'll cut the peeing scene.
Maybe. I can see how you got there. Yeah, I can see how you got there.
Yeah.
Comes back, apologizes, like, I've had to pee for hours, I was really pent up, and like basically acting like all this was about the peeing, and then
that was amazing.
Like,
I'm sorry I
story together
you.
And all that.
I'm sorry I kidnapped you and threatened to kill you and stole your car. I just really needed to pee.
Oh no, he threatens to kill her right after that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. He
comes back, he apologizes, like getting their story together, threatens to kill her. He's like, I'll kill you. Or, you know what? I'll never talk to you again. That got a good chuckle out of me.
Yeah. And
Like,
let's not forget, here's another thing about this that I want to bring up too, about the cinematography on this one too. This scene, because they do very like sharp one shots in this conversation. When he's sitting there talking to her, they don't do a 2-shot in the car. There's one shot of him talking to her, and then a one shot of her reacting to him and listening to him. And in both instances, they're very static shots. And in both of them, and this is something that you almost never see in the movie, and you realize why in this moment. But I think they did this deliberately because of it. Instead of them looking just to the side of the camera, like they're talking to the person, they are looking directly into the camera as though you are the person they're talking to. And it is so unsettling that they did it that way. You never realize just how unsettling that is. Like, to have the actor look right at you while they're saying, I'm really sorry I kidnapped you and threatened to kill you. I just really needed to pee. And
I will give it that. That was funny.
There's a lot of that in this movie where everything is done in very static, almost disorienting the shots, especially during when he's at his parents' house later on. The way they set up those shots at the table made it was disorienting, but also kind of.
It took a minute to figure it out. But
Yeah.
once I was into it, I was a little bit into it. That is a good reason why they do, like, when they do shots like that, they make the living room or the dining room, or they put it in a dining room, and they make all the background look basically the same. Because otherwise, you go on the audience goes on a wild ride like we went on in this one. And it is crazy jarring. But if that's the effect that you want, then, well, there you go. Threatens to kill her. All this stuff. I'll take a bite out of your cheek and shit you out. Her response? Are your parents vegetarians? Because I don't eat meat. What?
Which is, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No,
This is a movie.
Dude. Yeah. But you know what? That's vegetarians do that all the time. I'm not like, they could be held hostage, and when the fucking, the gruel is thrown at them, it'll just be like, this is vegan, right? Like, that's the, like.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to not talk about the QAnon shaman right now?
Oh shit, I forgot about that guy. Oh.
The QAnon shaman that went on a hunger strike because he's vegan, so he went on a hunger strike in prison.
I remember hearing about that. That was, oh yeah, I had a good laugh about that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, so no, literally what you just said, 100% true. Oh my god. They arrive to his parents, and she keeps checking in on him, and you see a lot of sweetness coming from our hostage, who basically Stockholm syndrome after about 2 seconds.
Yeah, no, almost like this was her dream right here. She's like, I have been waiting to be kidnapped my whole life, almost. Like, that's how quickly she goes along with this. Yeah.
Yeah, and that moment where he's like, will you hold me, and then don't touch me, it's like that, like, a lot of people struggle with that. Like, they want to be vulnerable, everything like that, but every time that they actually put themselves in a position to actually accept some love, it physically gives them a reaction, and they can't take it.
Yep.
That very strong inclusion. Can't knock that even a little bit.
No, yeah.
Meeting the parents, the dad is so not about him and all about her. And I mean, oh my god, all about her.
Dude, yeah.
That was uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's hard to tell who is the worst parent in this dynamic here. Like, they are both wildly different shitheads in remarkable ways. And the tough thing is that because everybody in this family is clearly full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
They have to show us flashbacks of what happened in the past for us to understand what's going on, because nobody in this family tells the truth at all. They're all completely full of shit, and they're all bastards to
I
each
don't
other.
know about that. That mom was pretty freaking honest about how terrible she was.
No, it was remember the chocolate bit. She lied about that.
Did she lie about it, or was she straight up in denial and didn't remember it?
Oh, I suppose that's also possible. That's true. But that's kind of the same.
The fact that she says to her son in front of his supposed wife that she has hated him his whole life and wished he was never born because he was born on the day of a football game. Nah, she was pretty honest about who she was.
That's a very good point.
The dad saying, well, yeah, but I mean, the mom talking about that chocolate and being like, "What do you mean you love chocolate?" And he's like, "No, I'm gonna die if I eat that."
Right, yeah.
And then
we literally see a flashback.
Yeah, we see the flashback of that being literally true, but we also get to keep that chocolate donut set up in the shot the entire time. His life is like basically being at risk the entire time, just sitting in front of this. Like, that was a very powerful moment or thing to include in there, just to literally have their disregard for his safety be a literal advertisement right in front of him.
Right, yeah. Yep.
That was a rough one. The dad saying, "Daddy loves his new young daughter." And
it's the first thing that comes out of his mouth since they walked in the door. Like, he answers the door and he's like, "It's your son," and walks off. Spends the next 10 minutes just looking really bored and pissed off until he finds an excuse to go, "Hey, I love this girl," and wrap his arms around her and be like, "Daddy loves his new daughter," and she's like, "Get off me, old man," in a very polite way, but you can still see the disgust on her face, the whole thing, and he's just like, but it's also kind of weird how she even kind of still like flatters him afterwards, but I guess this kind of goes with the whole Stockholm syndrome.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, her job was to make them like him and like her and all of this stuff. She does kind of a great job, but that whole CIA thing was way
it was fantastic. That was we met at the CIA.
Here was a really, really rough moment, and I don't know how common this is, but I do know, like, I have some personal experience with this. When you take a girl home, and you do kind of have that hope that, I feel like there's two kinds of people out there. The ones who, when they take their partner home, they want their parents to show them pictures of when they were children and tell some stories, and their parents just don't. Like, they just absolutely don't. And then there's the kind that really don't want that to happen, and that's all their parents do.
Right, yeah.
I've seen some experiences with being involved with the former, where somebody's trying to get their parents to be like, I brought my partner. I can't just sit here and tell all these stories. Like, do you think maybe you could tell a story about, like, when I was a kid, like, things like that? Like, that's the things that they want to hear. They don't give a shit about you. They're just being nice, and you're taking wild advantage of a captive audience who does not give a fuck about you, but you cannot stop talking about yourself. I have seen that. It was painful to watch then. It was painful to watch here. Damn. The fact they literally only had the one photo, and that is the photo from the cold open. Dude.
Exactly. Yes. That's what we find. That picture from the cold open turns out to be the one picture they have of their child. And that's like, it kind of, like, at first you're kind of stunned because when Christina Ricci asks, when she says, like, "Do you have any pictures of him that I can look at?" And she goes, "Oh yeah." And she turns to her husband, "Honey, go get the picture of Billy." Like, she says the picture of Billy.
Or the picture, one.
And there's a second where they're going like, did she say not pictures, picture? Like, what? And then she pulls out the album of the photo album, and they're all pictures of her with staff and stars of the Buffalo Bills. That's what. And then a few minutes later, Dad shows up. Yeah, here's the picture of Billy with his dog. There you go. Like
with the dog that he killed.
Right, yeah. What happened to the dog? The dog ran away. And then we get a flashback of the father straight up murdering the dog in front of Billy. Like, holy shit. Holy shit.
Not very, I mean, like, it's not very often that we just cover a movie and I see a character that I really hope dies of prostate cancer. That was that one.
Yeah.
But then, oh god, Ricci and the dad disappearing, and then him like serenading her, and then hauling off on her when she wants to hear another one.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's an interesting one too, because I think that kind of like plays into the whole cyclical nature of all this. Okay.
How do you mean?
Because what we see here, well, so we see the he mentions that, he used to be a singer, and she's like, oh, what do you got? Any tapes? And so he's like, okay, yeah. And he brings her and listens to the tapes, and he kind of lip syncs to the recording of his own singing. And we see this sort of like the image change. Like the room actually the room darkens and he gets a spotlight. He's still wearing the ratty t-shirt, but he's now he's moving like he's got a tux on, like he's freaking Dean Martin, and he's singing the song that he loves, that he loved to sing. And it's like he's kind of like living in this dream world of what he thought he was in the past. And when it's over, it kind of like her, now he's kind of reminded of what like could have been and what never was. Mm-hmm. Like he thought he was a big deal and he never was. And now he's living the fact that he was never a big deal because he's just some old dude, who hates his son, and doesn't talk to his wife because she's watching football the whole time. And he just doesn't want to be reminded of that. He's mad at her for making him feel happy again when he was basically just, just to lose it again, mm-hmm. and that's kind of like why. And we do see that kind of in Billy as well. Like every time Billy starts talking about how much he hates that kicker from the Buffalo Bills and how he's going to get him. I'm going to fucking get that guy for ruining my life. It comes right after something reminded him to his face that he's a fucking loser. Whether it's that childhood, whether it's his mom or his childhood friend, when he starts to lose his bowling game and stops feeling high from being a great bowler, he gets in this whole like, I'm a piece of shit and it's fucking that guy's fault for fucking me on that bet, mm-hmm. and that's kind of what his dad is kind of precursing that same thing of just, getting that little bit of high and then crashing it. Like, how fucking dare you bring me to reality? This is your fault, I was somebody 5 seconds ago. And that's kind of what we're looking at here. We're looking at a precursor of basically what's wrong with Billy by seeing it in his dad in that same way. And I think also to a certain degree,
the explanation, but
yeah. And I think we see a little bit of that in the interesting thing is that we kind of see it in Ricci too, because later on in the movie, she kind of does the same thing. She kind of goes into that sort of, for her, it's tap dancing instead of singing, but same thing. The room darkens and there's a spotlight on her and she's kind of living in her own little dream world. And so we kind of get a clue in as to why she's going along with all this crazy shit, because she's kind of crazy too. She's one of them,
I can see where you got there.
Yeah. I know I jumped ahead there, but that's kind of like
ooh.
I did tell you last week when I mentioned this movie is that I did watch it a bunch of times in a row, trying really hard to make sense of it, and I'm basically just regurgitating the random theories I popped up, back then, like 20 years ago. So
I feel like I was able to make sense of it on one watching, but it hurt. It really hurt. I will say that. Well, this whole
Well,
scene.
the main thing
this,
is,
hold on.
The main thing is,
hold on.
you doesn't. Okay.
Like this whole scene is basically what I'm talking about with where I'm saying the hurt. Ricci eat like the vegetarian eating intestine, and then the dad freaking out about the knife being pointed at him.
Right.
That whole fight was fucking psychotic. And it reminded me of going and visiting some other friends when like their families would fight like that and do things like that. Like I wasn't there, and I'm like, oh my, this is what it's like when I'm here. What the hell is happening when I'm not? Like, like that was flashing me back to things, and that like a lot of this movie was sending me back into some real rough memories. And this movie kind of feels basically so goddamn true. It hurts. It hurts it really so much, man.
Yeah. Makes you wonder how much of it, like, I don't know anything about Vince Gallo's story, but it's like, you get this really, really sinking feeling that some of this might be autobiographical.
Yeah,
it was a little too accurate.
I'm really thinking so. Like either, not directly the story, but definitely elements of the story, because this like it felt firsthand. Like that was the thing. Like I felt like I was the one being yelled at while I was. I mean, this movie like it was very triggering. Basically, like very in line with like a Matthew Bright film.
Yeah.
If you need one more reason to go watch another Matthew Bright film, Vincent Gallo is in Freeway 2.
Interesting. I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. Like Freeway 2, Confessions of a Trick Baby.
Yeah, that title alone kept me away from it. I was like, no.
Yep, that would do that. Just how much
like
this
right
family could not be
right
bothered
up there
to
with
give a damn about Billy. That
a title like that,
me.
that's right up there with Howling 3, Your Sister is a Werewolf. Like,
I might watch that. I think I would laugh at that. I don't think anything about Freeway 2 Confessions of a Trick Baby is something that would make me laugh.
Probably not. No.
Yeah, we talked about that. That moment where we get to see Mickey Rourke, it took me a moment because that was before Rourke like disappeared and then came back and did The Wrestler.
Right, yeah. He's still very small in this movie. Yeah.
Not compared to me, but compared to himself later on, yeah.
Yeah.
Mickey Rourke is playing the bookie, and we find out that Gallo's character is actually just an innocent idiot. Placed a bet, and because he couldn't pay it out when he lost, he wound up taking the heat for somebody else's crime. So,
which
another character doesn't really
funny
seem
moment.
All of a bad guy. Just a super well. He is a bad guy, but yeah, that's it. That's the thing. Like it's just he's a bad guy. Asterisk. There's just more to it.
He's an idiot who can't cope with his own idiocy. Basically, he's
a bad guy. Like, dude, he kidnaps a chick. Yeah, he fucking kidnaps a chick. That is the whole premise of the fucking movie.
But I loved that shot though, because we're looking at Mickey Rourke, and he's sitting there kind of going like, and this dumbass, he was like, here's the story. Some dumbass bets $10,000 that he doesn't have on the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. What kind of idiot bets on the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl? Immediately cut to, there's Vince Gallo sitting there wearing a Buffalo Bills jacket and hat.
Thinking that Scott Woods is going to carry them to victory. Which, if you're banking on your kicker, you already lost. Scheduling out all the letters and packages with Goon, who is now Rocky, and I had to keep going back to it. I'm like, is that fucking Kevin Corrigan? Like, I was like, dude, that looks just like him. He's not even credited in the movie. Corrigan.
No, it's weird. He doesn't have his name in the credits. That is weird. I have no idea why.
No, I went to the end of the movie. I was looking for it. I was like, what? And then I went to the IMDb and I couldn't find it. And then I scrolled all the way down to the uncredited, and there he was. And I'm just like, why would you not credit Kevin Corrigan in this? He's like, it's a small role, but it is not a bit role. He has like 3 scenes in the movie, and he is the main character's best friend.
Yep, and he's kind of the one voice of consciousness. He's the one guy sitting there going like, "Don't do it, man. Don't do the, don't place the bet. Don't do the bad thing." You know, like, yeah, he's a pretty important character. Why didn't the phenomenal actor who played him get credit? That is a very good question.
Yeah. And I just felt real bad because that's what I'm talking about here, man. This ain't a good dude. The way he calls his best friend, the way he talks to him and all that, and just like hammers down on him and treats him like absolute garbage. Like, dude, like that's not a good man, not a good friend, not a good dude. Just like,
yeah,
but an interesting character. And that's kind of the
point.
The goodbye and the car fight. Seriously, I wanted to kill this dad. I really did. I hated him so much.
Both of them. I mean, Jesus, they're sitting there fawning over her. They hugging her and kissing her. Come to visit anytime. We're so happy. You know, we'll come visit you. Come visit us. And bye, sweetie. And she walks out the door. They both look at Billy and then turn around and walk. They don't even say goodbye to him.
No, his mom just gives him a nod.
Right, yeah. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, you definitely feel bad for this character, but it doesn't excuse what the character does. That's kind of the thing. Jan Michael Vincent running the bowling alley.
I do want to go real quick. We skipped over. This is where it was.
Fight?
This was the one. Yeah, the fight when they're driving away, and he's like yelling at her like, "The CIA? Are you nuts? They're not going to believe that." Like, her line, her response to him is the one sane thing that anyone in this movie says. And she says, "You kidnapped me and I just went in there and did you a favor. What's your problem?" Like, that is the only time anybody in this movie makes any fucking sense.
I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
I can see that. It's a good point.
Yeah.
But
including her, it's the only time her character isn't kind of crazy, you know? Like, it's the most sense she makes even.
See, I never saw her character as crazy. That was the thing. Like, I saw her like going into it and going along with it, doing all this, but I saw her character as more of a curious character and not a crazy one.
I could see that for sure, yeah. Like a little bit of that, let's see where this goes, because this guy's kind of kooky, yeah.
Yeah, because one, he never actually hurts her, and the longer that goes, that probably would leave a little bit of understanding with that character. Like, he didn't actually hurt me, he's not actually hurting me, he isn't like slapping me around or cuffing me or tying me to things or anything like that. He's just like kind of...
He's all talk. He might be totally
like,
he might actually
be harmless. And that was kind of the thing, because like when he left her in the car with the keys and everything like that. Like, she could have bailed at any time. Like, no, so she was looking at him going like, this guy's really fucking stupid. And like probably just thinking like, yeah, I could get out of here at any moment I want, like whatever, and just kind of riding the ride. That's
okay. I can see that.
And then just
and then really chewing the scenery at the parents' house.
Movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jan Michael Vincent running the bowling alley, and the gear up scene for the bowling. Somebody has a bowling fetish. We have 2 characters almost naked in a bathtub in this movie, and them getting ready to bowl is the most sensual part of this movie.
Right, yes. And there was like between this movie and Kingpin, and I'm trying to think, I feel like there was more than that, but there was like a trend of movies in the 90s that just really upped the optics of bowling. And there was this one, and there was Kingpin is definitely like the top
Kingpin.
of them all.
Yeah, I remember that one. I can't think of. I feel like I know some other bowling movies, but I can't actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know
Even
like
if
there's
they weren't
some
bowling
like there was
movies,
even
they
like some
had
Disney
scenes,
Channel,
yeah.
Disney movie bowling movies that were coming out about that time. Like, no, that was a
Right,
thing.
yeah.
I can't remember many of them though. Uh, that moment where Billy's back, and you referenced this. Ricci gets that dance number.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I do understand going back to rewatch this to try to understand it,
Mm-hmm.
just indie moment, man. Just indie movie moment. That's what it
You
like.
think it was
That's
just
yeah.
we just want to have a scene of someone tap dancing at a bowling alley, and we'll
I
just
think
find
it
a
was
way
just
to
an art
slot it
house
in?
moment, man. I don't think it was anything that had to do with the character or the story. I think it was just an art house moment.
Yeah, you might be right, but I like it better when it's like, symbolic of something
No,
of her being a little nuts too.
I get that too. There's just like that basically is the only evidence that she's nuts. That's
Yeah.
it. The rest of the time she sees this character, she's taking pity on him. Like, we don't know anything about her backstory. She may be
But
abused and everything like that as well. So what
that's
she's
the thing.
seeing Billy going through is just very much informing her of what she's looking at. She finds out that the dude got out of jail that day. So if she is somebody who has been around people who have gone through extreme trauma, she may be willing to wait and see what comes out the other
Yeah.
side. However, this is literally a cautionary tale. Ladies and gentlemen, don't date people to fix them. Because that's basically what this was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
No.
that's how this ended.
She's been-
and yeah.
And we do see that she is constantly commenting on how vulnerable he looks. Like, she's calling him, cute. See, you look like a little boy, curled up like that. Stuff like she's constantly commenting on how like weak and feeble he is in a good way. She likes seeing him that way. That's her whole it's weird how quickly she falls for this guy, but it seems like most of that is, oh, look how broken you are. I can save you.
Yeah.
Is the entire motivation here.
See, like, this is a very real story because of how wildly unhealthy it is. Most people aren't healthy. Most people have at least one relationship in their background where they're like, how the fuck did I not see that coming? No, I did see that coming. I saw it every step along the way and I did it anyway. This is
Right, yeah.
This is one of those stories.
Yep, 100%.
Billy's butthurt and goes to call Scott Wood's joint. When Ricci gets that strike,
Right. Yeah, because he's been hitting strike after strike, and then the ball gets stuck, gets thrown off his groove. His next ball is a gutter ball, and she's like, "Well, let me try." And he's like, "Fine, try, see if I care." And she immediately hits a strike. He is so fucking pissed by that. And like I said, his first thought is, "All right, I'm gonna go kill Scott Woods. I gotta make a phone call." Like, because even though Scott Woods had nothing to do with this moment, in Billy's mind, everything is Scott Woods' fault.
Then we get that scene where they go to the photo booth, and I didn't understand it until afterwards, and then afterwards it made absolutely no sense. But they go into the photo booth to get some pictures, which I thought it was for like evidence, like he's gonna go shoot Scott Woods, and like this is supposed to be evidence that they were on the other side of town. But no, his plan is to take out Scott Woods and then himself in the process. So when they're leaving, they're going to always like, "Will you send one picture to my family every month?" It's like, dude, they're the same fucking picture.
Every Christmas.
Oh, yeah, every Christmas, yeah. But that, like, them, oh, dude.
And again, he's
go
the whole,
into the
while
photo booth scene.
While they're in the photo booth and he's sitting there going like, "This is us spanning time." Again, we're back to when he's talking about the cars that shift themselves. He's repeating the same line as though it's, makes sense. This is us spanning time, all right? We're a couple, we're in love, and we're spanning time. Just look at the camera. And every time she like tries to put her arm around him or give him a kiss for the photo, she's playing up for the camera. And he's like, fucking knock it off. Stop doing this. We're a couple who love each other, but we don't touch each other. We're just spanning time. Look at the cat. Like, oh my, it is. That was like something out of like a Ricky Gervais show where it's like everything is so fucking uncomfortable. You have to laugh or else it's going to fucking kill you.
Pretty much. No, I get that. Yeah, that's that moment where he's like, we got to be like we like each other. She's like, but I do like you, Billy. Even when I was watching, I was like, God, I think she actually means that.
Yeah.
And that was a moment, like, in my head, I was like, Billy, run. You don't get it. You don't get it, man. You seeing this now. But if she's willing to be here now, there's something wrong. Like, you're wrong.
Why?
Definitely.
That's not even...
There's something off here.
That's not even the first clue that's dropped. That's the second one. Because if we go back to when he walks into the bowling alley and Jan Michael Vincent goes, who's the girl? She goes, I'm his wife. Like she does it in kind of a weird way, like almost like she's making fun of Billy for making her pretend to be the wife. But 5 minutes later, they're in the photo booth and he goes, we got to pretend to like each other, but I do like you. All of a sudden it's like, oh, click, click. Wait a second. And that even comes later on when they're at the restaurant, when they meet his childhood love.
Yeah, literally here, the actual Wendy Balsam, played by Rosanna Arquette.
And
ow.
Right. And when she says, I'm Wendy Balsam, and Ricci, okay, any smart person, any person with half a brain would go, oh shit, this, okay. But no, Ricci's character, her response is to look at her indignantly and go, I'm Wendy Balsam. Like, and again, it's like, is she fucking with him for making her play this role? Or does she actually want to be his childhood love interest? We can't fucking tell anymore because she's all over the place now.
Oh, I think she's fucking with him all the way. Like, you know what?
Right there,
that finale might.
Are you sure?
All the way. Whole movie fucking with him the entire way through. Personally, that is absolutely what I think. She knows once she figures out that this dude is a teddy bear and that he isn't actually going to do anything, she's along for the ride and she's fucking with him.
Okay, I can see that.
I think once she figures him out, she actually figures him out and is just in it. That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah, trying to separate, but winds up at that diner, which And the explanation about her and like the child thing and him following her when they were a kid. Okay, I need to be very clear about this. It sent me into a flashback, but it's not because I was ever following or anything like that. I remember being in like 4th grade, and there's something about trees with no branches on them with a white background. That's something that I really have always enjoyed. And I remember staring out the window from across the room and looking outside at this like one branch. And my friend, who is still my friend to this day, Patty, she's like looking at me, and you just kind of say like, imagine I'm looking right here. She's me. And I do not see her looking back at me. And she's just like,
why are you staring at me? Yeah.
Just mouthing like, what? And like, she told me afterwards that she was doing that for like 5 minutes, just getting really pissed off. And I'm just sitting there just like, what a pretty branch.
See, at the same time though, I can go a step further because when I was about, I want to say 4th grade, 3rd grade-ish, I can't remember exactly where, but I was the kid who would take the long way home just so I could pass by the home of the girl I like.
I think a lot of people were like that. I don't think that's that uncommon. I wonder if I ever did that.
I hope not, because I just confessed to essentially light stalking, so I hope it's not, uncommon.
No, I think that's a really common thing that like young kids do and stuff like that. walking past the football team practice and stuff like that. Like when I was in high school, girls would do that to look at the certain guys. We would go like track and field. Nobody gave a shit about going nobody gave a shit about track and field, but there was still an audience, and usually that was all for just one reason. Somebody was
Right.
there
Okay.
because they liked somebody who was competing. So I
Okay.
don't think that is that uncommon. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But I am still trying to remember if I ever did anything like that. Because
But it's also at the
I
same
would
time.
definitely go visit Subway more often because like there were like I knew a couple of girls who worked there that I thought they were really pretty, so I would go eat at Subway all the time. And
Right.
isn't that basically the same thing?
I mean, kind of. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so like
Um.
that's what I mean. Like
But yeah.
if you put
But
that
then.
in the same vein, I don't think I think that's a
Yeah.
really actually common thing that a lot of people do when they're younger.
But yeah, but at the same time, it also really, really sucks when you run into that person 10 years later and they're like, "Oh yeah, remember when you were a total bitch for me? When you kept walking by my house like a creep? I noticed, I remember, and I'm throwing it in your face right now." Whether it matters or not, it kind of still fucks with you, and it
Ah,
obviously fucks with Billy here too, because what does he do? He immediately says, I'm gonna fucking shoot that kicker, man, because like you can like because that's how he
she
reacts
did
to
that to
every time he's
you?
brought down. No, not her. I'm talking in the movie. No. That's
Oh,
never happened to me.
I thought you were saying,
Yeah.
I thought you were literally saying that was the end of that story, and I'm like, oh, dude.
Oh, no. I mean I have had to certain degrees, like I have had it do come up, but not that harshly. No, the way she did it in that movie, no. I had like there was like a couple of occasions where like one of my I got an older stepsister. One of her friends showed up at my stepsister's wedding, and there was a little bit of the
Oh,
"oh, I
okay,
remember
oh,
you"
okay,
kind
yeah,
of
no,
thing,
no, no,
and
that's
that
that's
was that
way
was
different.
yeah, it's embarrassing, but it's not that fucking bad in that regards, kind of thing. Sure,
No,
yeah.
no, okay, yeah, no,
But what she did in this movie
every one of
took it
my
to another
sister's
level.
friends I had a crush on, like not even like without exception, like all of
Right.
them. So if you were one of my sister's friends when I was a teenager, I had a crush on you. That's life. Um, most of them have at one point or another absolutely just destroyed my ego with like, oh, you think you're cool? You remember when you used to walk around and sing Backstreet Boys all the time and try to impress us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like if you give a damn about looking good at all, that would have crushed you. And it did.
Yep.
It absolutely
And
did.
what?
And the worst part about who I am is every single one of those women who did that, I got even a bigger crush on them after that. I am a
Oh, of
messed
course.
up
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
I've got I've got a story that can go for off air.
do you want me to just cut it or do you want to wait until later?
No. We'll,
Okay.
we'll talk about it later.
All right. Uh, Gallo takes it all out on Ricci, and the girls stink speech was
Oh yeah.
that was funny. That was funny. That got a laugh out of me. But then we see Gallo in the bathroom crying for help. And that's
Mhm.
literally, he's crying and he's just like, help me. He
Yeah.
knows
And
everything he's doing is wrong. He just doesn't, it's like he doesn't see another option. There is no other option outside of this terrible path of decision making that he is on. And you
right.
really feel it, man.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like I give a lot of credit. And Ricci is crying over him. That was when I thought she was
Well,
crazy. That was when I thought she was crazy.
yeah. Yeah. And also, I mean, let's be honest. Rejection fucks with you no matter who it comes from. So
Yeah, yeah. I can see kind of where you're coming from
so
with that. Yeah, okay. We'll just kind of leave that there because I have
yeah.
no idea which way to take that one.
Oh, I'm not excusing her behavior in this. I'm just saying it's not that far it's not that far into Crazy Town.
Yeah. Yeah, except it is. If you get rejected by the dude who kidnapped you and you're sad about it, I'm calling you crazy. Doc, you're just looking at Christina Ricci.
No, I know. She really can do no wrong. She's an angel. She can do whatever she wants. She's always right. No, you're right. That is, yeah. No, I see your point there. I see the mistake that I've made. Let's move on.
Okay. All right. Billy talking about how much comfort she brought him from afar. Literally the stalker in training, man. But yeah. In the bath. And Ricci okay, this actually was my way biggest laugh of the film. She wants to be in the bathroom with him, and then he's like, no, because if you get in here, you're just going to take it a little bit further. And then she's coming in there, she's like, I'm freezing, can I get in the bathtub? And I'm like, that's not how baths work. No, if it's cold outside, it's going to be cold in there. So I was laughing about that. Then, when he finally caves and allows her in the tub with him, he adds clothes.
He puts a shirt on. Yes, he gets in the tub in his tidy whities to start with, and then when she gets in the tub with him, he puts a shirt on. Yeah,
which is definitely us laughing at trauma behavior, but it
was again dark comedy.
Yeah, there you go. It is. That is where the dark comedy comes in. Yeah, the bed. That is
that was a sweet moment. That was like the one truly sweet for all the shit. It was a sweet moment.
It was. It had a lot of pain. It had a lot of hurt in that moment. Him being so close to the border, trying to be as far away from her as possible, but he also wants to be there, which is why he's there.
Right.
There was, yeah.
And she gently tries. She first starts by touching his hand, which he kind of lets her do for a second and then takes it back. And it's like you see this slow progression. We don't know how long they were laying there. They did kind of give us a clue in that a lot of time is passing by giving us a lot of cuts where they're in different positions. So we're getting the feeling that a lot of time is passing. For all we know, this could have been 2 hours, 3 hours that it took for him to finally just get close enough to her for her to actually touch him.
Well, yeah, that whole section of the movie basically took place over about what I'm guessing to be about 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, because when he's on the phone before, she tells him it's 8 o'clock and he knows that he can't go to the strip club until 2. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a bare minimum of 4 hours there, and they probably were only at the restaurant for about a half an hour.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's about the timeline that I'm thinking there.
Yep.
But through that time on the bed, and then they actually cave, and he does cave, and he does go over and get a little bit of smooching and some safety snuggles. I thought he was going to sleep through the murder attempt and then wake up in the morning and have a realization. About how she helped him let it go or something like that. Not how this shook out.
No,
but he does.
But it does kind of seem like it sets the spark because he is in that moment. He actually allows himself to be vulnerable. He gets the comfort hold. Mm-hmm. It is exactly it's what he's needed since the day that fucking picture of him and his dog was taken. Clearly, this dude's never been hugged by his mother. And so the fact that she's actually just giving him a singular moment of affection, the most that he's ever had in his life. So it may not have worked right away, but there is definitely something rolling. And you can see it when he does get up to go do it. He's like, all right, it's time to go. It's time to go kill Scott
says,
and myself.
I love you.
Right. Which is weird because she just met him that morning when he kidnapped her. Like, the entire span of this movie takes place in under 12 hours.
Yeah, I love you. Like, just say, huh? He's the sweetest guy? Huh? Like, okay,
But that all
right.
comes
Okay,
from,
all
again,
right, all
like
right.
you were saying. This
Okay.
all comes from.
We're so close to the end of the movie. I'm having a hard time actually keeping my summarization in,
Okay.
but I'm almost there.
All right.
Because once I say it, you're gonna okay. Uh,
Okay.
Calling Rocky slash Goon to give away all of his locker stuff, and Rocky's in this like, man, don't do the. I mean, Rocky is very clearly like high as hell on heroin or something. Like he is out of it,
Mm.
very clearly, and even he's telling him like, don't do the bad things, stop it, all this. Okay, this may have been my biggest laugh of the film. The bartender with the enormous missing tooth. You're like, oh yeah, where's he at? Like, and I think if you are missing one of your two front teeth, your reaction to a general question is not going to be, oh yeah, it's over there. With the biggest, but that was funny as hell.
But it was a great kind of cinematic moment because it's very slow mo where she points and big grin. It's like it kind of highlights how weirdly cosmic this room is. Like this was a slice out of reality. Nothing in
No
everything
strip club
in that
is actually like that. That's not how things go
right.
down. Like
It
you're never gonna
was
see the
surreal.
shirtless
Yes.
owner off in a corner counting money with a cigar in his mouth, all this stuff. No, that was a fucking cartoon.
No,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
You got over in one corner, you got a girl dancing on a table with three guys motionlessly staring up at her as she's dancing. Like this was a surrealist sculpture, this strip club.
Yeah, and then when we go into what we find out is a fantasy about him actually successfully icing Scott Wood. How do you think they filmed that?
I
Because that
think
was not bullet time.
no, it was not bullet time. They were trying to kind of create the vibe of bullet time, but I think they really did just find a way to get everyone to stand really, really still.
That's what that's what my guess was
Yeah.
as well, because if you go back and watch that scene, you'll notice nobody's hair is defying gravity. Nobody's clothing is defying, nothing is actually in motion. So I'm right there with you on that. I think
They definitely got a lot of help. I think, like, especially the scene where he's dropping the gun. Like, sure, definitely the gun is held up by a string. I'm betting they even have some sort of support bar under his arm to keep it from wavering so he can actually rest on it and be actually still.
Yeah.
So I think they planned it out and they but yeah, I think it literally is just a case of everyone hold still while we move the camera. But the fact that they got it looking the way they did with just that methodology is kind of fucking amazing.
I'll agree with that. Parents at the funeral just
yeah, his fantasy of doing a murder suicide ends with him imagining his parents at his funeral not grieving him at all. That's his
being hungry
fantasy.
and wanting to live.
Yeah, and his mom's listening to a game on the radio and not even pay attention. Like that's.
Well, then he gets out of there and he calls Rocky to tell him that he's got a girlfriend who's nice and pretty and she's in love with him. And I'm like, okay, well, technically that's not a lie.
Yeah, but it sounds like the lies he's been telling up to this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is kind of funny too, because it's like he calls up Rocky to say, "You're my best friend. I'm sorry about the way I treat." Yeah. No, but like the best part is that he calls him up. He's like, "I'm gonna give you all my stuff because you're my best friend. I'm sorry about everything." He goes in, changes his mind, decides not to kill Scott Woods, immediately goes back to the phone and goes, "Never mind, I take it all back. Don't touch my stuff, you asshole." Like
that was good. I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
So he goes out and he's buying all these things for his girlfriend and everything like that. I thought all the way to my core that she was not going to be in that room.
Oh, that he was going to do all that, go back to the hotel room, and she'd be gone. That
I thought we were going to get the independent film ending. That wasn't the indie film ending. That was the Hollywood film ending.
That wasn't it. Yeah. But the thing is that it wasn't even an ending. He leaves the store to go do that. and we go to a still shot of the two of them sitting together with just the words "the end." So maybe they did film the indie film ending and change their mind at the last second or something.
Well, yeah, because she doesn't look happy. Like, he looks content, but she's staring off, kind of like, all right, now it's safe to kill him. Like,
how do I tell my parents how we met? Oh, shit.
Fair. Okay. Now I'm going to give you my summarization of this film.
Okay.
This is a white woman getting attacked by a stray dog and adopting the pet.
I can't find anything wrong with that. I can't find anything wrong with that summarization. Yeah. No, that's the funny thing is that after I told you this movie last week and you said what kind of movie is it? I said, "Oh, it's a dark comedy." And then after we ended for the night, I started thinking about the movie and remembering parts of it, and that's where I went, "Oh, shit. Is it a dark comedy or is it actually just a really bad drama that I found funny? Oh, what if this movie is not as good as I remember it to be?" And like, I actually kind of got a little nervous because even though, yeah, I said I watched it religiously for a couple of months, I kind of haven't watched it for like 15, 16 years. And so it did kind of, there was a moment where I was like, oh shit.
How did it age with you? Did it stick with you?
Well, there were parts that were less funny this time around. The bathroom scene, like we mentioned before, where he just goes full, slurs on the dude there. That was funnier to me when I was young and stupid than it is now. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it was pretty much as I remember it, and it was a little bit more cringy of remembering why I liked certain parts of it.
Sure.
Like the fact that at the time, Christina Ricci's character kind of reminded me of my ex-wife. And so that kind of, was endearing to me at the time. It's a little more red flaggy the second time around. You're, in hindsight of that relationship, so.
If this performance from Christina Ricci reminded you, yeah, I would have to say so. Casper,
yeah.
But not as much.
But she's still great. She still, I thought, did a good job. She was still adorable, even if I, sliced that part away. But yeah, no. Altogether, I still enjoyed watching it. I still loved it. I kind of did, Kevin Corrigan, was glad to see him again in that original role that I always saw him as.
Yeah,
like I said, every time he shows up on TV,
wild.
Yeah. Every time he shows up, I'm still like, it's Goon. Here he is. We're doing this.
So would you call it a must-see?
No. Unless you're a friend of mine. If you're someone who knows me personally, we're probably not going to be able to talk on any level until you've seen the movie. But other than that, as far as like the grand cinematic culture of things go, no, it's not.
I gotta agree with you there. I feel like there are some people who are gonna wildly appreciate it more than others, but I don't actually think it's a must-see for anybody.
No,
unless if you're a huge fan of Vincent Gallo, this is his directorial debut.
Yep. If you're a fan of Christina Ricci, then this is a great reason to go see it. It was my entire reason for seeing it in the first place.
Yes.
And it is a very quintessential 90s art flick. So if you're just an art film nerd, then this should absolutely be on your list. But yeah, as far as the grand zeitgeist of culture goes, no, it's not a must-see for everybody. This is a movie for film nerds, and that's about it.
The Big Lebowski, that's another bowling movie.
Yes, oh my God, how was that not already at the top of my head? Fucking A. I am so disappointed in myself.
So, I think I have our formula figured out with my lighthearted and joyful stuff that also brings tears. I think I need to watch mine second because, oh my God, you keep just destroying me with everything you bring to the table, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good stories, good films, great work. I have not been disappointed yet, I don't think. I'd have to go back through and actually check to see if there ever was anyone. But no, so far I think, as far as I'm concerned, it's been a good run.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good to hear. I feel bad about that considering like I'd say maybe a good 10-15% of the movies you've given me I've been like, "Oh, no, thank you." So I feel it feels rude to just, be like, and my suggestions are obviously superior, sir."
Well, there's really a couple ways to look at that. One, there is that way. You can see it that way. Two, it's easier for me to find the enjoyable parts.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I guess that's true. I am a little bit more critical.
I have been told that like that means that like my taste is basic, and I'm like, it might be, but doesn't that kind of just mean I live a little bit better of a life in that regard because of
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. There is something to be said. It's a weird kind of like half and half thing. Like, and I usually akin this to like wine drinking, basically, because there are folks who are,
Ooh, yeah, okay.
they're very into the entire wine making process and everything, and but for some reason having the ability to know enough about wine to be able to discern the difference between a really really good wine versus a kind of shitty one, that usually results in now you can't enjoy life unless it's the really really good one. The people who are perfectly happy with the shitty ones, they're perfectly happy, and it doesn't cost
Mm-hmm.
them anything to be happy because it's the cheap wine that's good. But at the same time, they are kind of missing out on what it is that makes the good wine good. So it's this kind of like back and forth of thing where it's like, if the more you know, the worse it gets.
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's probably things like this where the phrase ignorance is bliss comes from.
I was gonna say
But
that, yeah.
yeah, but at the same, so it's like it's how the way like wine snobs feel about wine. That tends to be how I feel about movies and TV shows, and I realize it makes me sound like an asshole most of the time because I think wine snobs are assholes. So I'm perfectly aware of that. I try my best to be even-handed in that, but it's like that's the curse of being a nerd, is that you know what it is you're talking about.
I I do. I gotta. Yeah. I mean, but the whole ignorance is bliss. As far as that goes, that covers basically, literally everything. Actually,
Mhm.
uh, when I grew up, more out in the country and everything like that. Yeah, I was very entertained by a lot of things that just at this point, fun, not enough.
Right. Yeah.
I need museums. I need galleries. I need an ever-changing scape of artistry and all that. I That is something that I have become accustomed to, and doing the same thing, like repetition, doesn't work for me anymore. I
Right.
really need new experiences because that is where I've really found happiness.
Hmm.
And so the smaller town, I do understand, like, I appreciate it in a different way, but I very much understand that it is not for me.
Right. I get you. Yeah.
Our second movie of the night is going to be Remember the Titans, and in my eyes, incredible film. I absolutely love this one. It reaches me in so many ways, and the fact that it's based on a true story is just, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you going into this, okay? Because it was is one. We mentioned this last week. I'm not a huge sports guy. I think I've seen two sports movies that I can think of that I liked. I
Rudy.
was never Rudy and League of Their Own.
Kingpin? Oh.
um, so I was not really like I was never excited to see this movie. People had brought it up before. Anytime any kind of sports movie comes up, people will be like, "Oh, and then Remember the Titans, man. That's like the football movie." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
Oh, I don't think
Um,
it's the football movie. I barely even think it's a football movie.
See, and that's the thing. That's what I'm getting at is I feel like I've been robbed because now that I've seen the movie, now that I know it is not a fucking football movie, football is the goddamn backdrop of an astounding story about integration in the South. Like, oh my God. Who are all these assholes who've been lying to me all these years, telling me this was a football movie, keeping me away from this amazing piece of artwork? There will be a very stern letter in the Times about this in the morning, let me tell you. This movie was fucking amazing.
When you told me you
so
hadn't
angry.
seen this, I was pretty fucking shocked.
Now I am too.
So, like I said, based on a true story, written by Gregory Allen Howard, directed by Boaz Yakin, if I'm saying that correctly.
I don't know. Don't know that one.
Starring Denzel, don't even need a second name, but starring Denzel Washington, Will Patton, Wood Harris, Ryan Hurst, and Hayden Panettiere. Now, you can really throw up a really big argument over who this is starring and who this isn't starring. That's my point of view.
Right.
With Donald Faison, Craig Kirkwood, Ethan Suplee, Kip Pardue, Nicole Ari Parker, Kate Bosworth, which that took me a minute before I recognized her. I knew who she was, but it took me a minute.
Right.
Earl Poitier, Ryan Gosling, and Burgess Jenkins.
Yeah. Let's take a second and talk about this cast before we get into it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because first of all, like, being that this was a period piece, you know, of the 60s, and a very, very well shot one, it, like, I had to keep reminding myself that this movie wasn't brand new because it's extremely well done in that regard. And so when Ryan Gosling fucking shows up on the screen, there's literally in my brain is, who's this Ryan Gosling looking motherfucker? Oh, it's actually Ryan Gosling. Shit. You know, same thing with Hayden Panettiere. You know, I'm like, Jesus Christ, the fucking cheerleader from Heroes is a goddamn child. How did that happen? And the crazy thing is that she's no different. She's the exact same face and character. She's just shorter. That's the only difference.
Level of talent.
Exactly, yeah. It's the cheerleader from Heroes steals the show in this fucking movie, for crying out loud. And all they had to do was shrink her down to, you know, they probably used some of that Lord of the Rings stuff to just make her look shorter because she really acts, sounds exactly the same.
So, an interesting thing about the Cheryl character, Coach Yost actually had 4 daughters, and Cheryl died.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, she from an unknown heart condition that she was that went undiagnosed. Her three sisters, who were not featured in this film at all because they lived with Yost's wife.
Okay.
And they didn't really want to show that there was kind of problems in that arena. So the 3 sisters were completely on board with the film featuring Cheryl and kind of representing her as an only child because it was the throw to their deceased sister. That is a level of heart that you kind of rarely come by.
You really do, but man, it really fits in the tone of this movie, considering just how much heart was put into this story. Like, it's not at all shocking. It's like, yeah, that makes sense in the tone of this flick of just absolute selflessness to this degree. Like, sure, I absolutely buy it.
Yeah. God. No matter what you want to say about Disney, they know how to open films. And their use of the score in this, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention Donald Faison, of course, who, for me, has always been Turk from Scrubs. To see him playing,
people, yeah,
to see him playing this brash football player kid, like, it was kind of a treat to see. You know, it wasn't a stretch of a character for him because he's kind of a brash jock as Turk as well. But still, it was fun to see him, you know, young, I guess, in this.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Will Patton, of course, too. You know, I think the last thing I saw,
absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, I think the last thing I saw him in was Falling Skies, and he was kind of the best thing in that show, and he was next to Noah Wyle. So that's saying a lot.
That is fair.
Mm.
All right, what do you say we get into it?
Let's do it.
All right. We open on the Titans showing up to a funeral and an immediate cut to the integration of the South. Wow. Because what we find out about what that particular riot is about. Ryan Gosling shows up to inform on the riot about to break out, and it's about a black kid getting killed.
Yeah.
How relatable is that always going to be? I mean, for God's sakes, that's got to stop at some time, man.
That's the crazy thing about this flick, is how still like relevant to today it is. And it's a 30 fucking year old movie about shit that took place 30 fucking years before the movie came out. Like, what the hell, people?
Dude. This was your immediate example of who the coach is and how he takes care of the boys and how he's looking out for their future and everything. Tells them that if any one of them is involved in this riot, in this fight on either side, well, we know what side they would have been on.
Right.
None of them are going to play for the year. So the coach is already coming in, protecting the boys and making sure that everything...
Protecting them from themselves.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Back to the school, and we meet Coach Boone. This is such a high tension scene. I mean, Coach Yost is the only one who's not acting racist in there. The assistant coach is asking him, like, why aren't you out there hollering with the rest of your friends? And when just to watch Denzel squeeze that football at that line.
Yeah.
This movie. I'm so glad you liked it, man. I was a little nervous. I'm like, is Doc doing this shit on purpose? But okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. When I saw the Disney logo come up at the beginning, I got a little worried. I was like, what? Brad didn't tell me he was giving me some Disney shit. What is this? All right. I take it back.
Every once in a while, Disney, they absolutely deliver.
They do. Yeah.
I'd like them to go back to 2D animation. I'd like to see a return just to that era. Less expensive to make, and when they did something incredible like what they did with Beauty and the Beast,
right?
That absolutely stood the test of time.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd like to see Disney go back to making 2D and
focus on your story. Don't worry about your technological advancements. Let Pixar worry about that, okay? Everybody stay in their lane.
Yeah, about to say, Disney is not exactly crushing it with that. They should probably just keep the 2D animation, or they should bring the 2D animation back and deliver all those excess software graphic engineers.
Right.
Toss them over to Marvel because you need them.
Oh, yeah. No, those poor bastards need some help for sure.
They really do. To find out how much they're overworked, and oh my God, yeah, get them some help. I love this speech between this conversation between the two coaches. He's like, I come to win. That's it. I'm going to win. Like, that's it. Like, it's not about politics. It's not about race. It's not about any of this. And the coaches have their own conversation with just their eyes, and that is why you get powerhouse actors like Denzel and Will Patton.
Yeah.
Because so much was said without a word being said. Like that, and that was a reoccurring theme between the two of them all the way to the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah. The scenes between these two guys had extremely minimal dialogue, if any at all sometimes, and yet had volumes of translation behind them that you could see in every way that they said everything or looked at things. It was astounding the way they did this. Yeah.
The racist neighborhood, as the Boones are moving into their house and they're all talking about it and discussing it, they didn't say the words, but they were basically saying, there goes the neighborhood.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And like how specific they were on this. the white people in this neighborhood, a random black person shows up and they knew who he was and where he worked. Like, that is how particular, let's go
Mm-hmm.
with that word, because this is a PG. I can't even believe this would not be a PG movie if it was released now.
Probably not. No.
Like, because basically people would be freaking out about CRT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No. Because this is a movie that, in no uncertain terms, kind of makes the white people look bad for the first half of the movie.
well,
I
come on,
mean,
man. The general white population was not on the right side of the civil rights
oh,
movement. Like, that
no, of
was,
course not. Yeah, especially not in that part of the country for sure. And that's, I mean, and that's the problem. That's kind of, and that's.
they had their rights. They were fine. Like, they were good. They weren't.
Mhm.
It wasn't their problem, so they weren't really involved with it
But there
until
is. Well, and let's this becomes illustrated, a couple scenes later, and I did kind of want to talk to that. So
well, yeah, because black people getting rights in the '60s and being integrated and all this stuff is the reactions that people had then are the same reactions as people have now to trans people being in sports and gay people getting married.
hmm
Like,
yeah.
they are fighting it in ways that don't fucking make sense.
But the interesting thing is that the reason why is illustrated right here, and when we find out that uh a decision was made, like the guy that
The
Denzel's
head
character's
coach
been brought in.
debacle. Yeah, that's what my
Yeah,
next note is, the head coach debacle. So
right. Yeah.
Denzel is told that, or first, Patton is told that he is going to be losing his position. And then we cut to Denzel, and Denzel saying he cannot take this man's position because he got fired because he was replaced by a white coach. And
Right.
he's like, "You're asking me to do this to this man. I cannot do that." The
And that's
moral center of Coach
yeah.
Boone was wildly intact the whole time.
And that basically comes down to what, like, all these fights when it comes to trans people, gay people, people of color, all this sort of stuff. It's all illustrated right there, because what we have is a power structure of very wealthy people who have created a system in which there is a tiered system of who gets what rights, privileges, and powers, and there is limited amount of room in all of those. You can't have two coaches for where you can't have two people doing the same job. You have to have one person in charge, and so the guy who's there happens to be white because that is all that was offered in that neighborhood up to that point. Like, they're like, well, in the interests of quote unquote fairness, we're going to fire you and give your job to the black guy to show that we're not racist against black people. Like, that is
But
literally what
it was keyed in later on that
Mhm.
like, there is literally no black coach. They had to give somebody
Right.
the chance. And the fact, I mean, they chose a champion coach. So, I mean,
Yeah. But that is what it comes down to, is that it's this fear that there is limited room in the country, and if we let those people
oh,
in,
you're talking the
we're
great
going
replacement theory.
yeah, and
Oh,
that
okay.
and that and that is generally, whether they say that they believe in that or not, that is kind of what is everybody's fear, that if I have to compete with even more people for this, then I'm definitely going to lose out. I was already having a hard time when it was just white people fighting for this position. If we had all the blacks, all the Latinos, all the gays, all the trans, if we're throwing them in too, I'm really fucked. That's what everybody in this movie and in this country is genuinely afraid of, whether they realize it or not.
And they're not wrong to be afraid of that, because this country, I mean, with our capitalistic structure, that is what it is. People
Yeah,
have to be fucked in order for other people to be good.
yeah,
So, I mean, that fear is based in reality. It's just a fucked up fear.
right. It's there's no, like, it would make more sense to have that product, that fear, taken away than to continue to victimize each other over it. But we can't.
I'm honestly, I mean, we talked about this a little bit already, but baby Hayden Panettiere just crushing the whole movie. Like, when She's pissed off. She's more mad than the coach. She kicks the messenger and then runs away.
I know, that was great.
The whole black community showing up to Boone's home, though, like, this was an era that literally every single win meant everything to this entire community. And you can see and feel the heart, like how much it was affecting them, because that's what it was. He's like, I'm not Jesus, the Messiah or anything like that. He's like, I'm just a coach. And then they're like, hell yeah, you're our coach. And
Right,
that's
yeah.
really the true sentiment of that, is they never had theirs. This was their first time. This was them going to these kinds of games and all of this stuff. Ooh.
Yeah. It's tough for me to relate to because even like,
Oh, I
'cause
can't
I've
relate.
never-
I can't relate to it.
Yeah.
I can just sit there and be like
It's-
my empathy is maxed out when I watch
Right.
that, man.
right, yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like, and you know, I've had things that, you know, I have enjoyed in groups of friends and stuff like that. Me and my friends going out to movies and stuff like that. But like when you see these like, and we were talking about it before with Frequency, the neighborhood getting together to watch the baseball
Yeah.
game and stuff like that. The way this entire town comes together for their high school football. I have never experienced anything with that mass kind of unity where we all so love this thing. We are all family, as you know, for, you know, not with, you know, I've
like
never,
benefits of growing up in the big city.
yeah, I mean, I've never loved any
Or
sport that much.
disadvantage.
Yeah, a disadvantage. You're right. But yeah, I've never loved any sport to that degree. And the things that I have loved, where I have found that unity with people with, it was never that big. It was always like I had to go to a convention to get it. It was never in my neighborhood, you know?
So the benefit of growing up in a small town and in smaller towns, when we would do a play,
Mhm.
whole town.
Oh, that's nice.
When the street dance, whole town. Parade, homecoming parade, whole town. Like that's the thing. Like the whole town. So there really is something to that, because those are all of my favorite memories from that time, was actually seeing the town and the community come together. And because it was such a small town, when I first got there, okay, little bit of a sidebar.
Okay.
When I first moved to this small town in North Dakota, it was the year after Columbine, and I was in my
Ooh.
punk rock phase. So when I showed up to school, everybody was terrified of me.
Okay.
I didn't know why. I was not a political child. I did not. I was like, yeah, there was a school shooting and everything like that. It's tragic. I didn't know that I looked like the guy.
Mhm.
Like, that was something that like really kind of tripped me up, because everybody's like, man, we were so afraid of you, but as soon as we started talking to you, you're like really friendly. And then like a few of them were like, yeah, we talk to you too much. You gotta stop. But after that initial like fear and hesitation over me shook off, there was an aspect. No, high school is high school everywhere, and it sucks everywhere. Small town, big city, it does not matter. High school sucks.
Yeah.
The community that I had outside of that school was wild, because people's parents were crazy nice to me and actually like felt more like friends than their own children did, who were my age. And I'm like, this place is really weird, because I really just like, I want to just shout stranger danger, but to who? Like, small towns have a very particular kind of charm in that way. However, the very first girl that I dated when I was there,
Mhm.
her dad told me, like, how did I enjoy the soda that I got out of the machine when I was walking someplace, and I'm like, too small, never dating anybody again. I dated 2 women in the 5 years that I was in that town. Dos. That's it.
Right.
Outside of that, I dated women. I dated people from other towns. I was not playing that game. Once that dude said that one time, never again. I was like, I'm
Right.
not. That is a level of surveillance because guess what, man? I'm not a little Mormon boy. I want to make out.
Yeah. I came here to get a reputation, damn it, but not a record.
Yeah, don't get. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Good way of putting that.
I had my one experience with that because even though I grew up in the big city, both of my parents come from small towns, and I was visiting my years back when I was a smoker. I was leaving my grandparents' house in the very very small town of Molalla, Oregon, and
That's
after
a nice
leaving,
town.
yeah, it's a pleasant place.
I like it.
After leaving my grandparents' place, I decided to stop at the local mart, the local general store to pick up cigarettes. And as I walked in the door, the guy running the counter looks up at me and goes, "You must be Bob's boy." And I was like, "I'm out. I can't buy cigarettes here. He's going to tell my grandma, and I'm done." No, and I just turned around and walked out of the room.
Too much. Nope.
Yeah.
No. And that's pretty much how that was. Yeah. Like, this is how small town it was. When, the day before I graduated high school, I got into a car accident and they asked, like, do you know your mom's work number? I was like, yeah, sure. So I, like, gave it to them. She called and they told her that I'd been in a car accident. She asked if she could talk to me, and they're like, "No, I'm sorry. He's in like with the doctor or something right now," which is almost word for word apparently what they said when my dad got into that car crash before he died.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So my mom like turned white. She was at work, just turned white, dropped the phone, looked at something like, "What happened?" Like, "Brad's been in an accident," and left. She got a police escort at like 90 miles an hour for 40 miles all the way to the hospital. That's how small town that's how small town this place was.
Okay. Wow.
Found out, they knew, they called, everything. And I left my cell phone in the car, so nobody was able to get a hold of me.
Right.
I showed up to graduation. Man, I like that was like the luckiest thing that could have happened. All the people that had like had problems with me throughout that time, all that, my whole graduating class. Okay, when I say whole graduating class, I think it was like 28 people. So let's be very clear, not a lot of people. A lot of them still hated me. Not that day. I showed up, people found out, like I remember I was walking in and there was a woman who was like very on the ordinary, very nasty to me. When I walked in, people were like responding, like, "Oh, are you okay? How you doing?" And she's like, "Why are they all acting like that with Brad?" Like she literally talked like that. I was like, oh, she was one of those people.
Right.
And like when they told her, she was off in the corner crying. I'm
Wow.
like, dude, this is a wickedly, weirdly awesome send-off gift for my last day of being around these people.
Yeah.
Like that, like. I'm actually I'm looking back on that right now and thinking how incredible of a gift that really was.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I remember my mom telling me when she was her I think it was it was a few years back, so I want to say it was like her 50th high school reunion. And yeah, and she was and she was like, "Oh yeah, we're all getting together," and she I got to drive back out to Idaho for it, and I was like, "Oh, it's 50 years, it's a big deal. What do what's going to happen?" And she's like, "Oh, we're probably just going to get reservations at a restaurant and hang out for a little while." And I was like, "Just reservations at a restaurant? That's what?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, I didn't go to my high school reunion, but I know that we had to like rent that they had, because I got the invitation for it. I know we had to rent out like a hotel ballroom for it, So you're telling me your graduating class can just get reservations at a restaurant?" And she looks at me and she goes, "There was like 8 of us."
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, like my graduating class, we could just meet up at the bar in the town,
Yeah.
and that would be completely sufficient. Yeah, maybe call the kitchen and let them like bring in an extra cook for the day.
Right.
But that's yeah, because let's be real, some of them are in prison, not all of them are married, and I am not surprised at. We'll talk later. All right. Boone goes to visit Yost, and Cheryl answers the door with fury. And dude, her like Hayden Panettiere's entire career is just summed up all with her answering the door right there. There is so much talent in that woman.
I have not seen a child chew the scenery the way this kid did since Dakota Fanning. Okay? Like, oh my God, how did I not know how much talent she had? Her talent was wasted on Heroes, let me tell you. Okay?
Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I hear that that country singer show that she does now. I heard that that's really good. A lot of people watch
Nashville. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard of it as well, but I've not seen it either. Yeah, but I have heard good things.
that. Yeah. These two men are both struggling so intensely, and it's crafted to be wildly understandable. And we went into this a little bit earlier, but it is essentially Boone got replaced by a white coach, and they're asking him to do the exact same thing to this man. And this man is looking at a man who has been given an opportunity, and he's not willing to squander it. Man, it is the fact that they understand each other's positions is what makes it that much more beautiful.
Right, yeah.
The white community meeting up to show support for Yost. The fact that Will Patton, whether Yost actually did this like this or not, Patton knows they're all wrong. Like, Yost knows they're all wrong, and he is trying to talk them down, but he's watching them say they're going to protest and throw their own futures away.
Yeah.
That was the black players meeting Boone in the gym. And this is what we were talking about with Donald Faison playing Petey, and just how happy he is. And when Denzel comes up and he's like, "What are you smiling for? Are you happy? Football's fun. You think it's fun." Dude. Oh my God.
Denzel comes in channeling Full Metal Jacket right in Don Faison's face. Holy shit, that scene.
And honestly, the way that Donald Faison like responded and everything like that, it was it felt like he was starstruck by Denzel, and Denzel came, like, didn't that? Okay, so it did. It wasn't just me. Okay,
Right, yeah.
It felt like
That
he
whole-
was like ready to like meet Denzel maybe or something like that. Like, and they just kicked the camera on to have Denzel come in and deliver it without Faison knowing. That is
It did,
really
yes.
what that felt like.
really
Otherwise,
did.
incredibly well acted.
It was pretty cool, yeah. You can kind of see it on Faison's face, sitting here going like, career high. This is awesome.
Exactly. He's like, I'm getting reamed by Denzel Washington. He was so happy about it.
And I gotta tell you, if I were in his position, same. I would. I would also be sitting there like, we got to do another cake. We got to do another take. I kept giggling. I'm sorry.
Absolutely, 100%. And thank God that if we are right about this, thank God that it was a black player that he had that off with, because having a white player laughing back at him would not have had the same energy.
No, that's true.
Not for the era, not for what we were doing. That message that he was sending out there: if you survive camp, if you survive. Denzel just Denzeling all over the place. Just I'm so happy about it.
That is a verb now. Yes, I agree.
Yes. The white players showing up in the statement they made.
Before we get to them, let's talk about Ethan Suplee. Let's talk about
Ethan Suplee playing Louis Elastic. Yeah.
And just coming in 100% teddy bear. I instantly felt how much I miss this dude, because He has
Mm-hmm.
always been like in everything he's been in. Even when even in fucking American History X, when he's playing a skinhead, he is still the heart of every scene he's in. Like, Jesus Christ, I miss this dude.
Dude, I just think about him as Thumper in the butterfly effect.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, yeah.
And he came in on that role as three very different performances in that same character all across the board, but the way that he treated Kutcher in that film, like he gave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. The coaches facing off and testing the boundaries of respect. The fact that Boone had every right to just continue reaming Patton and everything like that for the stunt that he pulled with the white players and all this shit
Mm-hmm.
to make a statement. The fact that he lets it go immediately, he is a smart man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he knows. He's like, all right, we're here to work. Let's work. He, like, the amount, like, there's a point later in the film where he talks about his sinful pride, but you see right here, he doesn't have any. Like, as soon as he realizes that there's an opportunity to get on the same page, he doesn't have to finish his statement because his statement doesn't matter. His goal matters.
Right. Yep.
Beautiful. I really, really loved that. And please, Doc, give me your perspective on the players showing up for camp and Bertier trying to be a tough guy to Coach Boone. Correct.
Yeah. What that was an astounding scene where he comes up, tries to get in it, and it's like I'm trying to where can I draw a correlation? It's like when some kid off the street decides he wants to tell the Godfather what's up. You know? Like
Yep.
he thinks he's all that. He thinks he's in charge. And his thinking is, almost entirely, race based, of course. He's like, I'm going to tell you what's up. And it takes, and the crazy thing is how, like, when Denzel responds, when the coach basically just sort of humiliates him in front of everybody, how gentle of a response that is. That is the most gentle way he could possibly have dealt with that. To just go, hey, everybody, we got a joker here who thinks he can tell me what to do. I'm the fucking coach here. So you can either do as I say or you can go the fuck home. And then he even goes like, where, and then, like, to the point, like, how hard, okay, when he says, where are your parents? And they was like,
and
that's
then
my
he
mom,
points
right?
out the mom, and then he's
Right.
like, and he doesn't even ask, where's your dad? The fact
No.
that he doesn't bring up his father, I feel like that tells Coach Boone the fact he doesn't have one, which makes it sting a little bit more. Because when he
Maybe.
goes through and he's like, so that's your mama. So
Yeah.
who's your daddy?
Right, yeah.
Now, if you want to play on this team, you will tell me who is your daddy.
Yep.
Oh my God. What an experience to be on the other side of that speech.
Yeah. Oh, and to such a degree. I mean, that speech was so. I genuinely, and I wish I knew for sure, but I genuinely, like, watching that scene, I thought to myself, is this where that phrase "Who's your daddy" comes from? Is this
Definitely
why?
not.
Like, is this why so many people, like, anytime they accomplish anything, put their hands up in the air and go, "Who's your daddy?" Is it this scene? Because this scene feels way too in your face about that phrase to not have some origin there, like, because it really it takes ownership of it. Even if that
Well, that's
isn't
just Denzel talking.
That's true. That's true. That is Denzel owning. He's Denzeling in that moment. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Offloading the buses and mixing the teams and setting up the roommates. This is one of the most requoted lines of the movie that I can remember,
Mm-hmm.
is people being like, shut up. And like somebody else will laugh, like, you can shut up too. Like, That
Okay.
dude, Julius and
Mhm.
Bertier's dynamic was just as powerful as the coaches.
Oh yeah,
How that was
for sure.
cast, how well that was performed, every piece of it was top notch.
Yeah.
Absolutely top notch. And just to throw a real quick thing, this movie absolutely used Ryan Gosling in the perfect amount, in the perfect way at this time of his career.
Right.
He
Yeah.
could have delivered way more, but wouldn't have made sense to the story.
No. No.
He was a
He
little
knew.
he
He
was a
knew.
little string bean dude. That
He
wasn't
knew his place, and he's fit himself into it perfectly. Yes.
every time he was in the scene, it was real hard for him not to steal the show. That was a great thing. Uh Bertier and Julius's fight is 100% white privilege, and where you were saying, like, this movie sets the white characters up to be the bad characters. That's real. Like,
hmm
that is, I mean, people, like, a lot of people don't realize that how real that is, but this is a great example. Uh, they're roommates. His wall, he's putting a decoration up, and the guy's just flat out saying, I'm not going to look at that all week. He's like, I'm going to look wherever I want, and I don't want to look at that. It's like, dude,
hmm
that's not your wall. Dude, check your privilege and check, damn. And we were just talking about Gosling. When he comes out and he sees it and he's just like, oh. And then just so casually, fight.
exactly. Because, well, and let's be honest too. It was kind of like they all knew it was happening, and he was just like going, "All right, we got one. It's finally started. We all knew this was going to end in a fight.
Yep.
Here it is. It's right here. I found it. I called it first."
I loved Boone's speech about football and utilizing anger and aggression for the team. I loved, like, because, like, yeah, most sports movies are not actually about the sports. It's about the aspect of a team. That is what
Sure.
most sports movies are about. And this one does it better than any. Like, just flat out does. My favorite part of this speech, though, is if you fumble the ball, I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts. And then you will run a mile.
I did find it. That's what I found interesting about Denzel's character, and I want to know, was this just a thing where they're like, this is a Disney movie, so we can't say Jesus Christ, we can't say motherfucker, you got to say something else, and Denzel picks John Brown as his replacement word for all these phrases,
So,
or was that something that guy in real life did? That's what I want to know.
Good question. I can answer half of that.
Okay.
This film was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, and the original script was ripe with profanity and a little bit more accurate to the era with some of the language.
The N bombs.
Yeah, a few of them. And in order for Disney to accept all of it, they had to back it off, and I'm glad they did. This movie didn't need it.
They still got it across without having to. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. It would have been heavier. It would have hurt more. But it was. It's whitewashed, but I know usually I don't appreciate it. I think I actually kind of appreciate it here.
It's the age old question of Huckleberry Finn, man. It's
I don't want to. Yeah, if you know, you know. But I don't even want to talk. I don't want to get into that one because
that debate will probably go on, past us both. So
yeah, that is definitely true. The intense training, and this is where we really start seeing, like, Yost is showing pity for the black players, realizing Boone is just as hard on the black players. Like, you see that, like, when he's, like, telling Petey to go run that mile, which another great sequence. How many feet are in a mile? And then how much Faison is panicking trying to come up with that number.
Right, yeah.
The fact, like, how much he was panicking, confused by that, I think that was improv. I think Denzel pulled that up out of nowhere, and Faison was not prepared to answer that question.
No, yeah, because what the hell kind of question is that?
Right?
I didn't know the answer to it. I still don't.
Maybe this is why I know the answer to that question. Because 5,280 feet, grab this ball and run. That line lives in my brain rent free. So I think like, I don't know. I've always known how long a mile is, but maybe this is why.
Okay, hey, you know what? If that's what it takes,
Whatever.
we should have more of that in there. The next movie Disney makes should tell us, how do you convert cups to liters? All right.
I would accept that knowledge because I do not have that. That is not my base. That is thank God for Google. Louis Elastic wanting to eat with the black players. I enjoyed it. I loved it so much because, he was met with some, hey man, you ain't welcome here type stuff. Right, but then, immediately after, you got people showing his back, and I like that sequence showed that it wasn't just the white players that were keeping them separate. It was all of them, not all of them. It was both sides.
And it was interesting too because from where he comes from, he's a military brat. For him, and he says right off, he's they're like, why aren't you sitting with your people? And he's all, I ain't got no people, because he is even more of a stranger to this town than any of them are, so, and would topped even off, when the coach barges in and he's like, tell me something, and starts asking questions. He does the full military, sir, yes, sir, at him. This is a military brat who's probably, which means he's been integrated more and better than anybody else in that town because he grew up in the military. So
until the other military brat shows up. Slightly more progressive. Slightly more progressive.
I have notes on him though, but
fair enough.
Some good, some bad.
Well, yeah. Ray's threat to not block for red. So here is one of the historical inaccuracies. Ray's character did not exist.
Okay.
He was made up for the film.
Interesting. Okay.
Just to add a little bit more conflict and to let us get a little bit more heartwarming moments from Bertier.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. Sure.
Yost asked to do some trick plays to raise morale. And I loved the look that Denzel gives back to him because it's it's not the point. He's and I love that he never tells him, but he keeps trying to let him realize, stop taking it easy on these boys. Because essentially this is basic training where you're trying, he's trying to be the drill sergeant that everybody hates and we all unify because we hate that son of a bitch so much.
Yeah.
That is the unifying force, is to unify to overcome what is ahead of us.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Very, very, and that's the thing. So Yost keeps trying to make it easy. Boone ain't letting that happen. And now you're talking about Boone gets Louis to try to show an example of the bond. I'm glad that Boone caught on and offered to tutor him so fast.
Yeah.
That was really nice. I enjoyed that. The assignment for the roommate bonding and both sides laughing at the singing. Man, if you're the kind of guy that wears leopard print bikini underwear, don't take it to football camp.
No, it's true. Yeah.
People are going to find out.
That's asking for trouble there, for sure.
All right, I got a little bit of a run here. All right. Ready? All right.
Let's do it.
Beat Ray's ass. Because as you're going through and doing that, the interviewing each other and all that, you have a daddy? He has a job, right?
Oh my God.
Beat his ass.
That was so harsh.
Gosling playing music
if
for
that
Blue.
Scene had gone on any longer, it would have been unbearable because it was so intense.
Gosling playing music for Blue and his response of cruel and unusual punishment, and just it's got to be this one, right? You got to enjoy this one,
right.
Gosling killed it, man.
And that's interesting because we see these different dichotomies of where you've got white guys, some are trying, some are being obstinate, and you got the black guys, some are trying, some are being obstinate.
Yep.
It's kind of working, but not really. It's a lot of the, you know, kind of balance of how, yeah, this happened, but it took work on both sides to do it, you know, and I
Yes.
liked a lot of that. Yes.
Bertier and the whole team, as Bertier's on the phone, and they're just like just trying to get him off the phone when he has to give that moment, like, I love you, sugar. Everybody's responses, that felt, in my eyes, that was the first bonding moment of the actual movie.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
That is the most we're all one moment in the whole thing is when everybody's making fun of the guy who's being sweet to his girlfriend. Like, oh yeah,
yep.
yep,
Everybody just
there's
happy that it's not them.
right, yeah. there is no color anymore. There's just us and that motherfucker.
Yes. Boone like keying in on the fact that the two to break are Julius and Bertier. You know, just wise coach. Smoking them as a team because Blue is thirsty. I'm going to tell you right now, I compared this to basic training. That's basic training.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You get burned as a team, so you learn how to help your teammate rise above to be like, when you get like smoked or burnt as a team like that, it teaches you to watch out for that guy, because watching out for that guy is in your self-interest.
Okay.
So the fact that it went that route, I thought it was really beautiful. Yost feeling bad and talking about like punishment and torture, and then just Boone having that smile on his face with the whistle. Wildly charming moment.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting-
Again, minimal words, volumes of translation between both of these guys.
Yes. And fighting over the water is the final straw to send Boone into that run that they go into. And Bertier admitting Julius is talented, but he is not for the team. And then Julius calling out the fact that there is no team, and how much like Bertier isn't standing up for the fact that Ray isn't blocking all this stuff. Like both of these guys are in the right because both of them are in the wrong.
Yep. Like the first truly, like after all the shit that they've been flinging at each other, this is the first truly honest moment between these two. And and that becomes the linchpin of their astounding friendship from here on out in the movie. After they go, okay, they both go, I'm gonna make it right, and in making it right, all of a sudden we're a team now, and that changes everything.
And I love Julius's walk-off line, that attitude reflects leadership, Captain. What a very, very good job. And that time to run to Gettysburg, and Denzel or Boone saying, 50,000 men died fighting the same fight we're fighting amongst ourselves today.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Would you even further? Like I said, 30-year-old movie of events that took place 30 years ago, calling on the correlation between what they're doing and shit that happened 100 years before that. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, can we, like, they've made 100 movies like this. Can we get the message, please?
Doesn't seem like that. But apparently the message worked on Bertier, because he goes ahead and calls out Ray. And Boone and Yost exchange the look as they're going through for the left side, strong side. Like, like the conversation that that Denzel and Patton have, like every time they look at each other. That's why you have powerhouses in these films. Now that they're a team, we get introduced to Sunshine. Now, you said you had some thoughts on Sunshine, because he comes in as a dynamite, like with dynamite precision.
Right. Yes. My main thing was, first of all, well, and it's later on. It is where it comes in, because I really, really appreciated. First, they establish that this kid is, he's a hippie, and they kind of draw on that by showing him doing Tai Chi in front of the school later on, and all the girls are watching him do Tai Chi. At first, I was bothered by that scene because his Tai Chi stance is shit. I don't know who trained that. I don't know who trained that kid, but they could an extra 5 minutes. All right, tuck your butt under, for God's sakes. You look like a stiff breeze would throw you over. But I appreciated that precursor that he is into that. I appreciated that was basically the Chekhov's gun for later on when he fucking pulls a judo move on the field later and helps them win the game. I thought that was fucking awesome. I loved that. I have for many years wondered why they don't, like, in all the many, many thousands of hours of training these professional athletes go through, how come they don't teach them any fucking karate? Because, I mean, come on.
Dude, they do.
They do? How come
Dude,
okay.
I guess that's what a lot of athletes in the NFL go to ballet.
Okay, see, that makes sense.
No, like yeah. I know you're not a big sports guy, but holy shit, there is a whole world of side training to be capable of juking when you're running at like 19 miles an hour.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
I had never heard anybody talking about that. It's like whenever you see like these movies, it's always like, all right, throw the ball 100 times. And I'm like, you could just, teach him how to throw a punch and he can, and that would translate to throwing the ball, but they never have that training thing. So yeah, I never watch a football game. I don't see him do judo on the field. So, I figured that I was like, it might be more interesting.
There are some crazy sports highlights that you would get a little bit of a kick out of because there are certain things that just aren't allowed to be done on the field. But in college football, sure, you have players that are so much faster than some of the other ones that they will literally run and then run up their backs and run over them.
Okay, all right. That's cool.
They will flip over them, all this stuff. It's college ball can be kind of wild sometimes.
Okay, all right, good. All right. I retract my statement then, but I did think it was very cool that he did the body flip in the game, and then they presupposed that by showing him practice Tai Chi ahead of time. I just wish his stance had been more realistic. That's all.
Personal. All right. Okay. Right into the locker room with Sunshine's haircut and all the mama jokes.
Oh wow, yeah, no, that was interesting.
Like, man, and your mama weighs twice as much as I do. Oh my God, now that's a mama joke. That was such a good scene. Then Sunshine goes up to give Bertier some smooching. Yep. And Bertier goes after him. And when Julius comes up, and the look on Julius's face when Bertier's like, he kissed me.
Right. He's like Julius, and he's like, and like, what happened next?
Oh my God, the sheer shock over his face. He did such a good, that was so funny. Returning from camp and singing Back to the World, and the world does not sing. They are all really weirded out by what happened to them. They go to the first day of school, and Boone finds out if they lose just one game, Boone's out. Yost is back in.
Yeah.
And
Jesus. Yeah. Holy shit.
Here's something that I really enjoyed about this fact. Boone didn't tell any of them. He didn't use it as inspiration. He didn't use it as drive. Like, if you guys lose a single game, I'm going to be gone and you won't have like my coaching and all this stuff. He didn't know.
Right.
He let them have it be about them.
Yep.
What a decision. We kept it. I mean, his character is so intact.
Yeah.
The whole way through. But I forgot to mention this. This is where Kate Bosworth, Bertier, introduces Emma, played by Kate Bosworth.
Right, yeah.
Tries to introduce her to Julius, and she just won't shake his hand and gives him this look of disgust and just
Gives them both a look of disgust. Basically like, fuck you for trying and fuck you for trying. I'm out. Like
yeah, it
she's
was
like,
fuck you for trying and fuck you for existing.
right, yeah,
Man,
yeah,
man.
yeah. No, that was fucking harsh. Yeah.
No, that really was. And then you get your 8 Mile moment with Denzel with the nervous vomit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the importance of being together and just ending that speech with "Be Titans." Now, here's something because like I said, I know you're not a sports guy.
Mm-hmm.
Most coaches are poets like a motherfucker.
Okay.
They really do. Like, I have been on quite a few different teams, and yeah, football, a lot of those speeches had a lot to do with religion and stuff like that. But I will give those coaches like their due respect. They put some effort into that. They brought some heart and some vulnerability into those speeches to inspire us before some games. Like, there's a little more to that than I think a lot of people are willing to admit.
Hmm.
But those are different worlds because I guarantee a lot of the athletes and stuff like that, they don't exactly celebrate art in the way that we do.
No, it's true. Yeah.
Not some of them definitely. Uh, Little Nicky, Mama, are all white girls that crazy?
No, some of them are more crazy. Have you seen Buffalo 66?
Oh shit! But also, I mean, like she basically Hayden Panettiere is basically acting like a football a football player's mom,
Right, yeah.
like way into it. But it's just so freaking funny, man.
Mm-hmm.
Gosling can't keep up, and Petey gets a shot at defense. I'm gonna go on a run real quick.
Okay.
Boone is worried. Boone is worried that Yos is letting them score on purpose. Walking out after the win, and racial tensions are still pulling so much of them apart because Bertier loses the girl, and the pain on his face as he walks away from like her making him make a choice,
Mm.
and then trying to go into that restaurant where Sunshine thinks that the racism is a thing of the past. And
Right, yeah.
yeah, I'm giving Donald Faison a lot of credit for his performance in that scene because I felt his pain, I felt his anger, and I felt his humiliation.
Yeah.
Also, the
Yeah.
way that it was shot with Sunshine sitting there looking confused and Donald Faison in the background just kind of like he wouldn't
Yep.
even look up, wouldn't make eye contact. He was just what what a shot.
Yeah. And that again, like that, even that moment, that's one of those still current today of like the failure of the ally to admit that a problem still exists, kind of thing. And yeah, and like it's probably they mentioned that Sunshine comes from California. How much better or worse the race relations are in California, I don't know. They have not mentioned that in the history books. But he seems to be of the opinion that everywhere is the same, and yeah, where I'm from, everything's cool now. And so why wouldn't they be cool here? And basically, like another example of this sort of weird, sort of internalized white privilege, not realizing that he's basically putting his friends in danger and at a best case scenario humiliating the fuck out of them here with this. And yeah.
Um, Boone and Yost discussions on how to treat the players. And it really is summed up all in one line. You're crippling them for life.
Mm.
And he's telling me, he's like, you're not, I don't see you coddling the white players when I pull them aside. It's only the black players. You're taking pity on them. You don't think that they're as strong as the white players. You think less of them. And none of these things are being said. Yet,
Mm-hmm.
all of these things are being said, and you can see Patton actually realizing it.
Yeah.
Because that is what he's
He-
doing. He's treating them like they're weaker than the others. He's treating them like they can't handle it. He's treating them like all this. Boone is the only one who is treating everybody actually equal.
yeah.
Like, Patton's realization, how he wore that, outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Bertier is trying to do the right thing, but his mom won't let him.
Mm. Damn,
And then
yeah.
Julius thinks that he ditched him anyway, and he won't even tell him. He won't even tell him it was my mom's fault. He won't throw his own mom under the bus like that.
Yep.
Fuck, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude. Visiting when Yost, no wait. Okay, yeah. When Boone goes to visit Yost with Nikki, and the girls like Cheryl throws Nikki the ball and she just kind of like dodges it.
I loved that scene so much. Like the dynamic between the two daughters was phenomenal all the way through. But that first introductory scene of, hey, you want to play? Throws the ball, and she just to the side ducks, and then goes, I just got my nails done. Like, oh my god, that scene. Like, I would have paid $15 at the box office just for that scene.
It was really good. The embarrassment at the disappointment that Hayden wore when she dodged the ball and all this, and then the confusion of like, you did your nails? Like,
I know.
No, so good. So very good. Boone's gift of the analysis. That was a great scene that I really did appreciate the fact that Boone went to Yost showing him that he's putting in that much effort. The scene also did a good job of showing how much of a pile of garbage the assistant coach was, because as soon as Boone came in to give him something good, he just got up and left. He didn't have to be there. So if he didn't have to be with a black person, he was not with one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was definitely one of the rougher ones. This is what you were talking about. Petey telling the women that Sunshine's from California.
Right, yeah. It took me a minute to kind of get what was going on. He's like, no, you don't understand. He's from I'm like sitting here going like, wait a second. Is this like some sort of 60s euphemism? Is that like that like, oh, you know, like the same way that it's like, you know, she's friends with Ellen and he's from California. Like, what? Was that really a thing in the 60s? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
What? Come on. In the 60s, when this country was hyper conservative as hell, and California was the hippie state where all the gay people went?
Oh, okay, I guess, yeah. It's
still
stupid.
Come on. Yeah, it was dumb. It was dumb, but it was true enough that it was like the joke was understood.
Okay, yeah.
There is that.
But it was pretty, like the way Faison keeps dancing on it. He's like, let me enunciate California more till you get it, lady. Like, that was hilarious.
Then the damn fight from the white dudes coming in just because Petey was talking to him. And I'm not gonna lie, Petey's response was perfect. Are you talking to my girl? I don't see any livestock around here.
That was pretty good. That was a good line.
I loved that line. I loved it a lot. All right. The assistant coach breaking up with Coach Yost. That was a powerful scene.
Yeah.
Like literally the way they like stared daggers at each other. Like each one of those felt like a punch.
And it was weird too, because it's like Yost even like he's not even taking it personal. He's literally going like, look, I understand why you're doing this, and I am trying to tell you in no uncertain terms, you're making a fucking mistake. As your friend, I am telling you, do not fuck your life up like this. Stay here and swallow your pride, man. And the guy's just not listening. He's like, nope, can't do it. Can't work for a black guy. I'm out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way that he says you go to hell and the way that Patton like just cuts and responds, I swear to God, it felt like he was about to lunge over that table.
Yeah.
That look had, it had something to it. The brick through the window at Boone's house when Cheryl's there.
Yeah. Yep.
So here's a thing. Historically inaccurate. The whole thing happened exactly like that. But it was an old toilet that they threw through the window.
Jesus.
That much more horrifying.
Yeah. Why did
They said that they felt like it might add comedy to the scene.
Okay, you know what? I can see that.
I can see how that could accidentally happen that way, but the way the actors responded to that, I don't think it would have gone that way.
It's a tough call.
It's a tough call, but the real thing that happened is somebody threw a used toilet through the window of his home. It wasn't a brick.
Yeah.
That's a little bit.
That's crazy.
That's just that much worse. And the team calls that meeting about how what they did at camp didn't mean nothing because when they came back to the world, they're just right back into it.
They let the conflict force them to choose up sides again. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where Yost is talking to Boone about how his like prideful sin or his sinful pride. Boone's right. There is nothing about his sins that had anything to do with that being thrown through his window.
Right, yeah.
And he even said, he's like, if you're scared, if you're confused, like if you're angry or like that, welcome to the world that my little girl lives in.
Right,
and that is the reality. That really is. And because he mentioned it a couple scenes earlier, especially these young black men, the world is not going to coddle them. They're not going to take care of them. Nobody's going to do that. You are screwing them up by taking it easy on them like this. How much this movie highlights the fact that we live in two different worlds.
Yeah.
Very, very good job. Game 3 is that new intro that everybody loves.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And it was real. And it has been used by so many professional teams since the movie got released.
Yep.
Baseball, football, and it has been used.
Why wouldn't it? Yeah. Why wouldn't it?
Hell, we did it. When I was in high school, we did it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
For one game, we did our warm-ups with the whole we did that for one game just because we felt like it. I don't know.
Nice.
Cheryl trying so hard to talk to Nikki, but man, she just does not care. I'm gonna go on another little run. Stop me when you want to jump in.
Okay.
All right. Red's injured because of Ray and broke his wrist. Sunshine's in. Boone's speech about being ready, lying about his how many siblings he had.
Yeah.
That was great because then Doc comes in. He's like, "You had 12 brothers and sisters? 8. Yeah, 12 sounds better."
Yeah.
That was great. That was perfect.
It's like, yep, I get it. Yeah.
Which 8 is enough, but 12 does sound better.
It does sound better. Yes. If you're gonna shout it into someone's face, 12 works. Yeah. It's got a poetry to it. Yeah.
Then they win the game, but man, Julius's interaction with the cop on his way to meeting Bertier's mom.
Yeah.
That scene lives in my brain. Like that whole especially through the summer of protest and all this, a lot of the conversations that like people bring up, like, well, if you're not acting suspicious, then a cop will leave you alone. It's like, dude, go back and watch Remember the Titans, because the way that he performed that scene was exactly perfect. He was scared. Even when he was being like, he was saying thank you, he didn't want to say thankful. He didn't want to be thankful with too much like physicality or anything like that, because he was afraid to do too much.
Yeah.
They're being scared looks suspicious.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when you are like in a class of people that is known for being brutalized by a group like that, you're gonna, man, the
It's
fact that
yeah.
people pretend that they don't understand this is just wild to me. All right. Bertier wants Ray off the team and cuts him. Like, I really enjoyed that. The montage of winning was just so much fun for me. Just don't drop the ball. Like the football with the don't drop me on it that they gave to Petey. Smashing the car and just running through that whole sequence and then ending on H.Y.S.T getting told that he's going to be coach again.
Right, because the fix is in, basically, is what he finds out. Yeah.
This was a moment that I remember when I was younger. I didn't really know how to take it because I didn't realize it was race. I didn't realize, okay, so that other coach where he's talking about, I'm going to knock the chocolate, or like, my boys are tough. They're good at knocking the chocolate off folks.
Sure.
Like, I didn't know that was racist.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was the the PG version of I'm going to knock the shit out of you. Like, I didn't realize that was a racist thing. I felt so fucking dumb when I was watching it this time. I'm like, oh, I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I even missed it at the end, like where he was, like he called him a monkey. And then at the end of the game, Boone comes back with a banana and it tosses it to him.
Right, yeah.
My innocent ass brain thought they were talking about like banana fingers, like have like so you don't fumble the ball or something.
Or something, yeah. Yeah.
My brain would not let. I was watching a movie all about racism, and my brain would not let me understand that it was about racism.
Yeah, yeah.
Just freaking so dumb, so wild.
But that was kind of the world that we grew up in. I mean, like I don't know about you. You're not that much younger than me, but I know for me growing up.
No, you act like I am, but no.
But for me growing up, I know I grew up in a household that kind of like wanted to take an extra step at making sure I didn't grow up racist. And so it wasn't just that, like, it wasn't just that no racial epitaphs were ever used in my household, even in reference. And so when they appeared out in the world, I never knew how to recognize them. There were so many racial slurs out there that I did not know were racial slurs. That
I'm not
going to say it. I'm not. But I did get in trouble at work for using a word that I had no idea.
Don't tell the story, Doc.
I'm not. Jesus, calm down. I know. I'm just pointing out.
I forgot we're not live.
I'm just pointing out that it happened. But that's the thing, is like that, and moments like this, I mean, that's the thing, is like these movies, they have the terminology, but they don't explain it. There's no one sitting there, like you can see in the reaction, everybody's upset, but nobody went like, I'm upset because he used racial slurs. Like, we don't get that translation, that clue. And so, like, it kind of makes you wonder if you're really doing a service or not, by not calling it out in some way, but that's the thing.
No, that is an argument that it very much exists.
But the tough part is that if you do make that part of the vernacular, if you do introduce that vocabulary at the same time, I mean, that's what kids do. We will drop that as soon as you hear that, that if you drop the N-bomb, it gets a reaction. Oh, that's suddenly that's our most powerful weapon that we will pull out at the first sign of trouble. Kids are fucking crazy that way. So
the official is dirty, and H.Y.S.T stops the sabotage after seeing Cheryl's reactions. You almost can't blame Petey for dipping because he's been sabotaged by a dirty referee the entire game,
and no one's told him. Yeah, even though the coach is looking to rectify it right now, he still is not in the know. He's not telling him, look, this isn't your fault. He never says that.
Yeah, which I feel like I would have, But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, telling a player that there's dirty refs out on the field and stuff like that, you kind of got to
Yeah.
imagine that could go pretty far.
Yeah.
Um, this is like, and I'm glad that Yost got the moment. You remember the night they played the Titans, and the thing
Right.
is, they did. You got
Mm-hmm.
everybody who played the Titans that season. They remembered that forever.
Mm.
I guarantee you that. Like 100%. Boone's look of acknowledgement to Yost as again another powerful. I mean, how many times have I even said that?
It just keeps happening. Yeah.
Yeah, Bertier trying to get Julius to go with him. Emma saying she's trying. Boone's neighborhood celebrating for and with him. There is a lot of happiness that leads
Mm-hmm.
up to Bertier's crash.
Yeah.
This is another inaccuracy. Bertier's crash wasn't until after the season. Bertier played in the championship game.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That was for drama for the movie.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, fuck, it made for a good movie.
It would have felt a little too if they waited till after the championship to have the crash, it would have felt too indie movie. Oh, we brought you up, now we're gonna take you down. You can't do that in a mainstream film. You got to do the takedown first so that everyone feels good about being brought back up again.
This actually is accurate, though. The whole team at the hospital and Julius's reaction to finding out that Bertier was paralyzed,
Mm-hmm.
that was actually most of the team showed up and claimed to be his kin. Like that was a real thing, and I loved that.
Mm.
Mrs. Bertier telling Julius to be strong, and all of these exchanges, man. I mean, that's my brother. And then Julius telling him, "You're Superman. You ain't supposed to be like this."
Mm.
Oh my God! The fact that they called Bertier Superman and then Bertier wound up paralyzed.
Mm.
I mean, I don't
Harsh.
want to make the joke, but it's there.
What year did the movie come out again?
98. Two, neither of us looked that up. Damn.
No, yeah, and I'm trying to remember when exactly the accident happened. So I'm trying to wonder: is it before or after? Was it?
Oh, dude,
Was that?
Christopher Reeve, the horse?
Yeah, that happened pretty early on.
That was
Actually,
like in the
that,
80s, wasn't it?
I feel like it was, yeah, or at least the very early '90s. Okay, yeah. No, that was already. That
2000.
was already okay. So yeah, that was already a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, him calling him Superman and then saying, "I was afraid of you, but I was only hating my brother." Oh, man. Oh, it hurt. It hurt, and I
Yeah,
loved it.
it was a good scene. It was a good scene. A lot of kind of like the value of coming that full circle of mending the racial fences and actually treating each other as equals and being
Yeah.
in a team and being allowing themselves to be brothers and how like that enriched both of their lives, you know.
Yeah. And then the meeting between the coaches, and then Boone saying that we should get a couple more practices in this week to keep the boys focused. And Yost is he is an emotional dude. He is like, he just is. Boone, I'm a winner. I'm going to win.
Right.
And then Yost being like, is this even about football? And no, it fucking isn't. This was not about football. This was about so much
Yeah.
more, man.
No, yeah.
With Boone with his wife in front of the fire. The movie didn't need the scene, but it was a good inclusion because she really was a good partner, and we didn't get to see enough of her in the movie. But
No,
I'm
it's true.
sure his wife played a pivotal role in his strength to keep going through these things.
Probably, yeah.
So,
For sure, yeah.
yeah. I loved when Yost went to go visit Bertier and talk about it's time for reflection and prayer, and he's like, I'm hurt. I'm not dead.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Fuck yeah. That was the Bertier character. That
Mm-hmm.
really was him. And he never gave up because he said he was reading up on stuff and he found out that they have Olympics, which, perfect sidebar to anybody who's been ragging on the Special Olympics. Go watch Remember the Titans and then go fuck yourself.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Then we get to the championship. And my God, that scene with Louis Lastic as he goes up to Denzel is like, I'm eligible. Well, that's great, son, but I'm married. Fuck, so good. I'm going to go on a little bit of a run here, too, okay? Petey can't play in the championship. The applause for Bertier's mom. Emma finally shaking hands with Julius. Everything leading up to the beginning of this game was intensely powerful moments of bringing things together. And I really appreciated that, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The walk-by conversation between coaches. I love that as Denzel's just walking by and just giving everything he can as he's walking by. That was a great shot. I love it. I loved that. That was so good. Bartier screaming in the room and then throwing the shoe at or whatever bedpan. I can't remember what it was, but they're just yelling at the nurse not to come in there.
Right. Yeah. He's like, God damn it, at the game. And the nurse comes in. He's like, are you okay? And he just throws, he's like, don't come in here.
Cheryl has to give her dad advice about pride and the shotgun technique. And the shotgun technique. Boone giving that speech about accepting loss and Julius biting back on it is like, no, you may not be perfect. I may not be perfect, but this team is perfect. And saying that we want to leave the way that we came in and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Very well crafted. The coaches helping one another out. Gosling giving his spot to Petey. And yeah, Petey does not fumble this time.
No, yeah.
Like, it was said, like, Petey had a great little journey, and it was very much kind of in the background, even though it was very in your face. Him fumbling, winning the game because he didn't fumble. That was a bit like, there's your sport movie. There's your sport movie right there. It's all Donald Faison.
Yeah.
Everything else is a movie about the civil rights movement.
Right. Which I thought was interesting too, because like they kind of played this, especially when you have, Boone and Yost talks about pride back and forth. He got his daughter coming in telling him basically like, give up your pride because everyone can see that Petey should be in, but he's not because he's still getting punished for walking out on that last game. And they're basically trying to tell the coach, give up, don't be so prideful that you punish this kid and lose the game because he's the one who should be playing.
Yeah.
But in a way, at the same time, it's not so much pride as much as he is desperately trying to teach this kid a lesson, because even though, like we said, he was never told this is not his fault, he did still walk out and bailed on the team. So there needs to be an understanding that before he can come back into play, he's got to get back into the team. It's not about appeasing the coach. And that's why when even Sunshine comes up and says, I shouldn't be playing. Gosling, right, sorry. When Gosling comes up and says, it shouldn't be me, it should be Petey, that's when he goes, if you want to give Petey your spot, you go tell him. Because his whole thing hasn't just been about punishing Petey, it's about making sure Petey understood this was about the team. So if you're going to be getting back into play, it has to be your team that welcomes you in. You need to get their permission to come back in, not mine. And he basically orchestrates that happening in that moment, But the weird thing is that he, without like even really translating it or telling people that that's what's up, he did almost sacrifice the game waiting for somebody on the team to come ask him that question, So it is kind of weird that was the methodology he took in that.
That's a good point.
Way. Yeah.
That is a good point. Cheryl and Nikki Like Nikki trying to get like Cheryl to watch the game, and then Cheryl's like, not now, not now, not now.
I don't care.
No, not that part.
Oh no, wait, that was before. That was even before.
Yeah, that was the
right,
before.
yeah.
That was the before. Now Nikki's like, come on, you got it. Come on. Not just Cheryl's like, no, you don't understand. No, this is the sport thing. I can't see that.
Right.
That was great. And then Yost telling him, and this is the point of the movie. I know football. What you did for those boys. He doesn't even say it wasn't football. He just says, I know football. What you did for those boys. You were the right man for the job. I really enjoyed that. Because those two's friendship went all the way on until they died.
Yeah.
Like, they stayed friends forever.
Yeah.
So did Julius and Bertier, all the way up until Bertier died.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, way too many members of that story died young.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a rough one. But Bertier became a gold medalist in shot putting and killed in a car crash, which is the funeral that we opened on.
Right.
And that closes.
Which I
gotta
say, like when I read that, I've never seen the Special Olympics, and I certainly have never seen wheelchair shot put. But I have tried to throw things while sitting down. If you can win an Olympic medal in shot put in a wheelchair, you're probably a better shot putter than the ones in the actual Olympics, I gotta say. Because that shit's fucking impossible. Like,
have you ever actually tried to throw a shot put, like an actual ball?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you do know how heavy they are.
Absolutely, 100%. Yes, yeah. So I mean, holy crap! Like he really did go the full bore there when he was like, "I'm going to be an Olympian." Like, well, he was not fucking around.
No, because he only died 10 years after that.
Yeah, like it's a yeah. Where would he have gone if not for that? Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so
I do want to shout out my favorite line in the movie.
Please go ahead.
Which was delivered by Hayden when I'm trying to remember which one of the games. It was when they took the kid out it was when they took the kid out and put Sunshine in. When Sunshine goes in to play his first game. And the kid that they took out, his dad is flipping out. And Hayden basically tries to tell him, and she says to him, she's like, Gosling. Was it Gosling they took out?
Yeah, Red was the quarterback, and then Sunshine went in for Red. Petey was the running back, and then
all these blonde guys look the same to me. Okay, so but basically in that scene, and the dad's flipping out about it. Don't you take my boy out of the game? And Panettiere comes up behind him and goes, "But he's getting beat like he stole something." I have never heard that phrase before. It made me laugh so hard. I love that line. That's my favorite line of the movie. He's getting beat like he stole something. That was amazing.
That is a good one.
Yeah,
that is a good one.
The fact that she delivered it with such sincerity too, again, brings us back to, wow, that I guess that's why she became the TV star she is because even back then she was ridiculously talented.
Wildly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm putting this on the must-see list.
I got to agree. In fact, I'm going to put it on the same shelf as Secondhand Lions. If you've got kids, you've got to show them this movie.
Oh God. Yeah.
This is an important one. It's historical, and I mean, maybe that is the beneficial side of it being a Disney flick where they cleaned up some of the language. It is a kind of a soft-boiled way to make them aware of the struggles of that time. But don't make the same mistake my parents did. After the movie is over, sit them down and talk to them about that and make sure they understand what the racist language was. And so that they don't repeat it in school the next day, So, yeah. But yeah.
Remember the Titans. Obviously, I mean, for anybody who's seen it, I feel like that this is a must-see. But, Doc, what do you got for me for next week?
For next week, I am giving you the Robert Redford classic, Sneakers, which also stars Sidney Poitier. Uh, Fuck, I am blanking out on everybody else who's in it. It's a star-studded cast. Dan Aykroyd. Um, Crap, that's not all. Those are the top three names, and it's like everybody in this movie. You're going to be like, oh shit, he's in this movie. She's in this movie. Like everybody is in this movie is amazing. It's about a break-in artist, a legal break-in artist, basically. He does security testing. People who have high security locations, they hire him to try and break into their place to see how good their high security is. And then he gets a visit from the government. They want him to break into someplace for them. And it's a really, really good movie, really interesting. It was one of my favorites for a few years. And yeah, I think you're going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy revisiting it. It's been, I think, 20 years since the last time I saw it. I'm looking forward to seeing it again.
Enough.
Yeah.
And
what do you got for me?
For you, I have The 13th Warrior, starring Antonio Banderas.
The 13th Warrior. Yep. I've had people tell me I have to see this movie.
Have they told you what the story is based on?
No. See, that's the thing is like, I remember the reason why I never saw the movie is because I remember the trailer did not impress me. It just looked like, your standard, castle versus castle fighting movie is what it looked like. And I was like, whatever. So I never was interested. And then it was like a couple years after I had people going to me like, you've never seen it? Oh, you got to see it. And I just kind of went like, okay, I'll get around to it, I suppose.
So no one
ever told me what it was about.
I'm not going to spoil you on what it's based on, but it is based on classic literature.
Interesting. Okay.
What the movie is an Arabian knight joins a crew of Vikings because a prophecy says that they need to take 13 warriors on this next mission, and the 13th warrior has to be an outsider. So he's forced into this mission, and he winds up on a Viking ship.
Interesting. Okay.
And yeah, I want you to write down what time, like the timestamp of the movie, when you figured out what literature it's based on.
Okay. All right.
If you can remember to do that,
I will make an attempt. All right.
Because it's gonna tell you immediately if you're paying attention to the names. If you're not paying attention to the names, I don't know. I don't think you ever will figure out what literature this is based off of unless you pay attention to the names. So that is the only hint I'm going to give you on that one.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Okay. I mean, I try to pay attention to names. I don't always, especially when it's something. I mean, especially when we're talking about something. If it's got a big name star like Banderas in it, I may only see it as Antonio Banderas. I may never hear his name, but I mean, I will try. I will.
Okay, it's actually really funny. I will give you one spoiler. In Arabic, you are your name, son of your father's name, son of his father's name. And you can just keep going, right?
Sure, yeah.
In Arabic, son of is ibn. So, because he said ibn so many times as he's saying son of, they just call him ibn.
That's pretty good.
I thought that was pretty funny.
That's your name now. We're just calling you Ibn because, okay. That's pretty good.
Well, because when it starts off, he's speaking Arabic and they're speaking Nordic.
Okay.
You don't oh, dude. I'm probably going to, dude, yeah, I'm watching it tonight. Fuck right.
Okay.
Dude. I'm not going, no, shit. I don't know what I'm doing after the show. It's a mystery.
Okay.
All right. So that's going to bring a close to this week's episode. Next week, we will have The 13th Warrior and Sneakers. Once again, if you are listening, you can watch us on YouTube at the Hacksaw Workshop. And if you are watching, you can find us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube Music. We are where you can listen to podcasts.
I am an author. I have a series out called The Outside World. Book 4 was released just a few months ago. Last I checked, book 1 is currently ranking in the high 3,000s on contemporary literature on the Amazon rankings.
Nice.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm not 100% sure how that ranking works out, but I feel like considering how many hundreds of thousands of books there are on Amazon, being in the high 3,000s sounds pretty darn good to me. So
I would say so.
I think if you pick it up, you'll enjoy it. It's available in hardcover.
Definitely will. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like Doc, you are absolutely horrendous at marketing your materials, but the product that you have put out there is definitely worth checking out. Hands down, flat out. And we have the audiobook for that currently in production. So even if you're not a reader and you're a listener, we will have something for you guys coming soon.
Wish listed, the audiobook will be coming soon. But it is currently available in print and on Kindle. And if you are a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, the first 3 books are available for free for Kindle Unlimited subscribers. Yep. Check it out. If you think I sound at all smart to you and creative, then you might enjoy the books. Yeah.
All right. And with that, we will see you next week.